glorify your holy name. We praise your holy name today. We bow down and worship you. We glorify your holy name. We praise your holy name today.
Down and worship you.
We glorify your name.
We glorify your holy name.
We praise your holy name today.
Blessed be the name of Yah.
We praise you today.
Hallelujah.
We praise you today.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. All praises to the Most High. Hallelujah. Hey, man. So I put y'all up on the screen, man, showing y'all get down one time. And this is the thought that came to my mind, right? I'm watching y'all get down praising the Most High. Don't nobody praise the Most High like we do. Don't nobody do it like us. And that's because we was created to worship the Most High. We were created to teach the other Gentiles how to worship the Most High. That's why we do it the way that we do. That's how we get there. That's why we get, they say that we got soul and rhythm and everything else in that. Now, tomorrow morning, if you go to some of their churches, they're going to be like, oh. And they call that praising the Most High, right? But even if you go to some of our Christian brothers and sisters churches, they in there getting down. Getting down because we was created to worship. You know that that's one of the definitions of the term of the word Judah.
Yes.
To praise the Most Yahudah, to praise the Most High. That's what we was created to do. All praises to the Most High for that. Now, is brother big? We gonna pray in.
I got you, bro.
All right. So we gonna pray in. Then brother Drano gonna blow the shofar 7 times, and then we'll go into the commandments and the new covenant and the Hebrew phrase of the day and the law, and we'll go into our reading. So whenever you're ready, big brother. Just to let people know, Shabbat Shalom, Pierre. Shabbat Shalom. So for those who don't know, Shabbat Shalom, bro. So we face the east when we pray to the Most High because King Solomon, he had sent a petition to the Most High. He had said that if the children of Israel was to ever go into captivity, if they would face the temple and pray, that he will hear their prayers in heaven. So we face towards where our temple once stood. And being that we're in the Western Hemisphere, our temple once stood in what they call the Middle East. So we face the east to pray towards where our temple once stood, as requested by King Solomon. Now, if we was south of the temple, we would face the north. If we was north of the temple, we would face the south. We face the east just to face the temple, so that the Most High will hear the prayers of the children of captivity. I mean, the children of Israel that's in captivity, and answer their prayers. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. So I praise Yah. Solomon gave us a speed now. He gave us a speed now. Y'all ready? Ladies, hands covered. Gentlemen, hands uncovered. All right, y'all. Hallelujah. Hashem, Yahushua, Balakakai, Ya Elyon, Yakai. Heavenly Father, Abba, I come boldly but humbly to your throne of grace again on the set apart day. We waited 6 days for this, as we always do. Father, this is the day of rest and enjoying ourselves in you, in ourselves, and just resting into your love, Father. Father, right now, I just want to acknowledge your grace and your love, and thank you for that. I could have been dead a long time ago, Father. Many of us could have. But like you said, you chose us. We didn't choose you. But it was us who sought you out. For we knocked and the door was open. For we sought and we found, Father. But now I just want to thank you for allowing that to happen. Thank you for your son and the provisions you've made, Father, for him coming to die for our sins. Father, I confess all my sins to you, Father, and ask that you forgive me for them. Forgive us for all of our sins, transgressions, iniquities, and replace them with your grace, love, and mercy. Father, I ask and I pray that you forgive our ancestors for messing up your covenant and breaking it, Father, which caused us to be in the position we're in today, Father. So on their behalf, I pray that you forgive them. As we pick up where they left off and broke off, we put together and take off for the glory of you, Father. Father, this great awakening is so serious, Father. But you see what's going on today, Father? The enemy is making plans to thwart that out, but it's not going to happen. Father, you said Satan deceived the entire world, if possible, even the elect, Father. But I thank you for giving me wisdom and eyes to see where I didn't see before, Father. I thank you for allowing me to see in the Ruachal realm opposed to the carnal realm, Father. Thank you for training me, Father. But I actually pray, Father, that you bless each and every one of us with the mindset of receiving your word today, to the bringer of your word today, who you can speak to any one of us, Father. For we are a family. We hold nothing back when it comes to you, Father. If Billy was speaking your word, we will listen to him. Because we're all about you, Father. We don't place ourselves above no one. Because we are many members in one body, but we make up for Yeshua HaMashiach. So I ask and pray you bless us. Order our steps in the word, bridle our tongues, and let our words edify you, Father. In the name of Yeshua, whatever's going on in the house, let it be known that you come first. I rebuke any demonic spirit that may step foot in this house and cause discretion, separation. And Father, before I forget, there's a young man I want to pray for today that I ran into who did not seem that he was in his right mind, Father. He's a humble brother, and he might not know. But if you touch him, Father, if we watered that plant or sowed the seed, that you do something special in his life, Father, so that he could be a witness and tool, an agent of change for your glory, Father, that others might come to you. In the mighty name of Yeshua, I'm next. I pray for my sister. I don't know what she's going through, Father. But Lord, behold, all will be well. For you said, weepeth coming in the night, but joy is coming in the morning. So in the name of Yeshua, HaMashiach, Father, let us minister the word and heed to it and apply it to our life today. Hallelujah! Hallelujah!
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. So how was everybody's week?
Bless.
I mean, praise the Most High. We all made it through this week, able to see this holy Shabbat, this set-apart day.
I found myself held hostage last night.
You found yourself what?
Held hostage last night.
Oh, wow.
They should have called Men's Day.
You should have put out an APB.
I put out a system, pushed them down. Oh.
All right, so we're going to do like we usually do around about this time on the Most High's Holy Shabbat, right? We start off our Holy Shabbat by reading the Exodus, the 10 Commandments, starting at Exodus. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, where the shofar at?
So rapping it. You over here speaking.
What you say? He unwrapping it?
Yeah, you running through everything like you driving on the speedway or something. Calm down.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Told that y'all. Told our brother Drano. Okay, so to continue how we do, everything just went quiet. Y'all still out there? I can't hear y'all. Okay. All right, so like we do every Shabbat, we start off by reading 10 Commandments in hopes that we remember these words that the world has seemed to have forgotten, that we apply these to our lives so that we might be found blameless. You know, I was thinking on this the other day. There was one time where America had kept these covenants. And although, kept these commandments. And although they were mistreating the children of Israel, the Most High was letting things happen. But he was giving them some sort of blessings because they did keep these commandments at one point. But as you can see, as they go further and further away from them, and as we come back to them, everything's flipping upside down. Is it just me, or does other people see it like that too? Hello? Anybody out there?
I can somewhat agree with you, Brother.
Okay. So we're gonna go with Exodus 20, starting at verse 1, and we're gonna read the commandments. And when we read the word where it says God, we say Elohim, and where it says Lord, we say Yah, which is the Most High's name, per Psalm 68:4. So whenever you guys are ready, we could go ahead and read the commandments.
1, 2, 3. And Elohim spake all these words, Elohim, which had brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other name before thee. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I, Yah, thy Elohim, am a jealous Elohim, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take in the name of Yah, thy Elohim in vain, for Yah will not hold him guiltless who taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath unto Yah thy Elohim. And thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days Yah made heaven and earth, and the sea and all that in there is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore Yah blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land in which Yah thy Elohim giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Shabbat shalom, sis.
Shabbat shalom.
Glad to see you. Sister Robin on here. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everybody. I woke up thinking about you and Mo. Every time we sing this song, only two voices I hear is you and Mo's.
All praises to the Most High.
All praises.
So we're gonna go into the new covenant. We read the new covenant every Shabbat. This is the day that we're waiting for. I know that the world believes that we're in the new covenant based on certain languages in the New Testament, where Hamashiach, or who the world calls Jesus Christ, says that take this, my blood is and my bread, and this is my New Testament unto you. But you have to look deep into that to get the correct understanding, because as we look at Jeremiah 31, we see that the Most High is talking about gathering the house of Israel and the house of Judah from among the heathens or the Gentiles or out of captivity and bringing them back into their land. And then once he bring them back into the land, he will reestablish his covenant with them. Being that we know that we are Israel and we're still scattered, we're still in captivity per the transatlantic slave trade, per the sub-Saharan slave trade, we are still scattered to the four corners of the earth and has yet to be gathered. Therefore, we cannot be in the new covenant until we are regathered. Hallelujah. Am I making sense?
Hallelujah.
Okay, so we read Jeremiah 31, starting at verse 31. When you guys are ready, you can go ahead.
Behold, the days come, saith Yah, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break. They all come out with a covenant unto them, saying, Yah. But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saying, Yah. I will write my law in their inward parts, and write it in their hearts, and will be their Elohim, and they shall be my people. And they shall teach no more every man his neighbor, and every man his brother, saying, Know Yah. For they shall all know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them, saith Yah. For I will forgive their iniquities, and I will remember their sins no more.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. And just to be clear, you see that this covenant is made with the house of Judah and the house of Israel. Nowhere does it says the whole world. He said, I will make a new covenant. So with the house of Israel and the house of Judah. So you would have to be part of those two houses, right? And he also said that when this is established, they shall teach no more every man his neighbor. So there won't be no need for a church. There won't be no need for a synagogue. There won't be no need for someone saying, hey, do you know Jesus? Because every man, his brother, because they shall all know me, from the least of them to the greatest of them. So we won't have atheists. We won't have people who believe in Egyptology. We won't have people who believe in Allah and Buddhism and things like that, because everybody would know the God of this Bible. Somebody say something?
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. And then he also said, when this day come, I will forgive their iniquity or their sins, and I will remember their sins no more. You know, every day we pray for forgiveness of our sins. If you're not, you should, right? But if we were already in this day, there would be no need for that because your sins will already be forgiven, right? And this is after the gathering of Israel and Judah. And he said the law would be in my inward parts. That means you would know the law. It didn't say my commandments. He said my law in their inward parts. So that brings us into the law of this week that we're going to focus on. Every week we try to come with a law that some people might not know that we were required to keep this law or how to keep this law. So we try to find a law that people didn't know that we're supposed to do, try to show how we do it, and we try to show it in the New Testament. So I'm going to let Brother Derek take over for Leviticus chapter 5, verse 1. It's all you, Brother D.
Leviticus chapter 5, verse 1. The law of the week reads, and if a soul sin and hear the voice of swearing and is a witness, whether he has seen or known of it, if he do not utter it, then he shall bear his iniquity. So what we're saying here, and we were discussing this last night at men's night, if you know somebody swore an oath to the Most High, and you see him breaking that oath, you are required to check that person. Say, hey, no, you are. You said you was going to do this, and you're not doing this according to the oath that you made with the Most High. Because if you don't, you also will bear the iniquity of him breaking that oath. That covenant that he made isn't just between him, because you were there as a witness. You know he made this oath. You have to make sure that he keeps that oath. And the reason why we actually have another part that goes with that, and we were discussing this, like I said, last night with at men's night. It goes along with, Matthew
5 and 37.
5 and 37. And that reads, look at Matthew 5 and 37. It says, well, I'm going to do 36 and 37. Neither shalt thou swear by thy head, because thou cannot make one hair white or black. But let your communication be yea, yea, nay, nay. Whatsoever is more than these cometh to be. So don't even swear an oath, is what he's saying. If you're going to do it, just do it. Right. Because you can't control nothing. Like if we could control things, I would be 6'7" right now. You know what I mean? But I can't control my height. So I'm gonna just, if you answer, the answer would just be yes. Either yes, you're going to do it, or no, you're not going to. Don't be out here, I swear on my kids, I swear on my grandma's grave. Nah, if you doing it, just do it. And let that be that. And that way you don't even get yourself caught up in a situation where you made an obligation to step to the Most High or to somebody else. He already knows what you're going to do. You don't need to make no oath to him. And as far as just regular everyday people going, don't commit yourself to something that you're not 100% sure you're going to be able to do. Right. If you can do it, yes. If you can't do it, no. Or just stay in the middle and be like, I'll let you know. Right. But don't commit to something like that and then be caught up in sin because you lied saying, hey, I was going to make this happen.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. And if I could go just a little bit deeper in on this Leviticus 5 and 1, this is also where the court system, this is also as a witness take his stand, right? you're sworn in as a witness, right? Swearing as a witness. And whether you have seen it or known of it, you're supposed to give the testimony as a witness. So, in other words, pleading the fifth is against Torah. Pleading the fifth is against Torah. And I'm going to show you what I mean by that. So, if we come over here to the Blue Letter Bible and we look at Leviticus chapter 5, verse 1, right? And we go into the treasury of the knowledge of Scripture. This might be small, but I hope you guys can see it. Hold on, it looks like it ain't cleared up yet. Is it clear on you guys' screen, or does it look like Hebrew?
It look like Hebrew.
Looks like Hebrew, okay. Hold on for a second. So, let me see something. Leviticus 5 and 1. New share right here. Here we go. Bang. Bang. Man, that still look blurry. That's not coming in clear at all. Okay, I apologize that that's not coming in clear at all. I don't understand why, but I'm gonna read what it says though. It says, for this does not relate to the duty of informing against a common swearer, but to the case of a person who, being adjured by the civil magistrate to answer upon oath, refuses to declare what he knows upon the subject. Such an one shall bear his iniquity, shall be considered as guilty in the sight of Elohim of the transgression which he has endeavored to conceal, and must expect to be punished for hiding the iniquity with which he was acquainted. So in other words, if I was to see someone commit a sin, right, and then I was brought forth, because we had judges and we will have judges again when we go back home. If I was brought forth to give the testimony on what I saw or what I know, and I refuse, like, oh, nah, that's none of my business, I'm not saying nothing, I ain't did. I am guilty of that same sin that person is guilty of for not speaking on it. And let me stop sharing real fast so I can try to get a clear share. So I don't know why it's doing that. It's not coming in clear. There we go. So if I don't speak on that, you know what I'm saying? So all that I'm been in, I ain't in it, and all that stuff like that, you know what I mean? Like, you can't lie. You can't. And my big brother Drano, he's big on that. You know what I'm saying? He's big on that. You might want to withhold information, but if a person asks you that information, you can't lie. You gotta say what it was. You know what I mean? Like, so it's not that I wanted to tell on you, but somebody asked me and I had to tell them what I saw or tell them what I knew. And that's what the situation is sometimes. And I admire my big bro for being so zealous to keep the law like that. All praises to the Most High. So now that we got the law of the day, let's go into the Hebrew phrase of the week. As you all know, we've been working on the days of the week, and we're going to pick up and continue on the days of the week, and we're going to learn the fifth day of the week, which is what the world calls Thursday, right? The fifth day of the week, which is which the world calls Thursday, is Yom Kam-ishi. Yom Kam-ishi. So we know that Yom means day, and Kam-ishi must mean is fifth day, or Thursday, or with the heathens and the Gentiles who, although we just read the new, we read the commandments, well, thou shalt not have any other Elohims before me. They have named this Thursday after their god Thor. This was Thor's day, which became Thursday. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
All right, so now we're gonna go back into the reading. We were reading. Let me close this out right here. We were reading. We left off in a story where Abraham had went to Gerar, and the king of Gerar wanted to take his wife and everything. We already went through the story where Ishmael's already born. So now we're picking up in the story on Isaac and the birth of Isaac and what happened in Abraham's life from there. So we're going to read Genesis chapter 21 and 22, and then we'll go to Jubilees 17, and then on to Jasher. So we're going to start off at Genesis 21, verse 1, and we're picking up at the birth of Isaac. Whenever the reader's ready.
Genesis chapter 21, starting at verse 1. And Yah visited Sarah, as he had said, and Yah did unto Sarah as he had spoken. For Sarah conceived and bare Abraham a son in his old age, at the set time of which Elohim had spoken to him.
Hold on for a second, bro. I'm getting some feedback while you're talking. I don't know why it's doing it. Just from you talking.
I'm gonna get closer. How about this? You about to let that out. Is this better out?
Yes, that's a lot better.
All praises. Alrighty, so Genesis chapter 21, starting at verse 1. And Yah visited Sarah as he had said, and Yah did unto Sarah as he had spoken. For Sarah conceived and bare Abraham a son in his old age, at the set time of which Elohim had spoken to him. And Abraham called the name of his son that was born unto him, whom Sarah bare to him, Isaac. And Abraham circumcised his son Isaac, being 8 days old, as Elohim had commanded him. And Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born unto him. And Sarah said, Elohim hath made me to laugh, so that all that he hear will laugh with me. And she said, who would have said unto Abraham that Sarah would have given children suck? For I have borne him a son in his old age. And the child grew and was weaned. And Abraham made a great feast the same day that Isaac was weaned. And Sarah saw the son of Hagar, the Egyptian, which she had borne unto Abraham, mocking. Wherefore she said unto Abraham, cast out this bondwoman and her son, for the son of this bondwoman shall not be heir with my son, even with Isaac. And the thing was very grievous in Abraham's sight because of his son. And Elohim said unto Abraham, let it not be grievous in thy sight because of the lad, and because of thy bondwoman. And all that Sarah had said unto thee, hearken unto her voice, for in Isaac shall thy seed be called. And also of the son of the bondwoman will I make a nation,
because he is thy seed. And Abraham rose up early in the morning and took bread and a bottle of water and gave it unto Hagar, putting it on her shoulder and the child, and sent her away. And she departed and wandered in the wilderness of Beersheba. And the water was spent in the bottle, and she cast the child under one of the shrubs. And she went and sat her down over against him, a good way off, as it were a bow shot. For she said, let me not see the death of the child. And she sat over against him and lifted up her voice and wept. And Elohim heard the voice of the lad. And the angel of Elohim called to Hagar out of heaven and said unto her, what aileth thee, Hagar? Fear not, for Elohim hath heard the voice of the lad where he is. Arise, lift up the lad and hold him in thy hand, for I will make him a great nation. And Elohim opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water. And she went and filled the bottle with water and gave the lad drink. And Elohim was with the lad, and he grew and dwelt in the wilderness and became an archer. And he dwelt in the wilderness of Paran. And his mother took him a wife out of the land of Egypt. And it came to pass at that time that Abimelech and Phicol, the chief captain of his host, spake unto Abraham, saying, Elohim is with thee in all that thou doest. Now therefore swear unto me hereby Elohim that thou wilt not deal falsely with me, nor with my son, nor with my son's son, but according to the kindness that I have done unto thee, thou shalt do unto me, and to the land wherein thou hast sojourned. And Abraham said, I will swear. And Abraham reproved Abimelech because of a well of water, which Abimelech's servants had violently taken away. And Abimelech said, I wot not who hath done this thing, neither didst thou tell me, neither yet heard I of it, but today. And Abraham took sheep and oxen and gave them unto Abimelech, and both of them made a covenant. And Abraham set 7 lambs of the flock by themselves. And Abimelech said unto Abraham, what mean these 7 lambs which thou hast set by themselves? And he said, for these 7 lambs shalt thou take off my hand, that they may be a witness unto me that I have digged this well. Wherefore he called that place Beersheba, because there they swear both of them. Thus they made a covenant at Beersheba. Then Abimelech rose up, and Phicol, the chief captain of his host, and they returned into the land of the Philistines. And Abraham planted a grove in Beersheba, and called there on the name of Yah, the everlasting Elohim. And Abraham sojourned in the Philistines' land many days. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. So
Hallelujah.
like we do real fast, we will do a quick recap, and then we'll let everyone bring out what stood out to them in this chapter, right? So the Most High came to Sarah as he had said, and it caused her to conceive a child that they named Isaac, which the angels had already told him to name his child in the book of Jubilees, right? And Sarah laughed and said, she's having a child at an old age. And Abraham threw Isaac a feast on the day that Isaac was weaned, right? And Sarah saw the son of Hagar, the Egyptian, and which is Ishmael, mocking Isaac. And she told Abraham to cast him out. And then Abraham was grievous about this, but the Most High came to Abraham and said, don't be grievous, send the bondwoman away and the child. So Abraham rose up in the morning and took a bread and a bottle of water, and he sent them away, and they went wander into the wilderness. And when she went into the wilderness, of course, she's distraught, and she sat down, and the baby was crying. She laid the baby down, and the Most High sent the angel unto her again and told her to, to cheer up, lift up her eyes, and her son will be a great nation, and to continue on. And so they ended up dwelling in the wilderness of Paran, and his mother took him a wife out of the land of Egypt, right? And then it came to pass that Abimelech, who was the chief, Abimelech, who was the chief captain of Phicol, Abimelech and Phicol, the chief captain of the host, spake to Abraham and they were having issues over digging wells and other people taking over their wells. So Abimelech made a covenant with Abraham, saying, that we won't build treacherously with each other, not my son nor your son's son. Meaning, like, if we dig a well, then it will be your well and everything else. And so Abraham, to seal that covenant, Abraham took sheep and oxen and gave it to him in 7 ewe lambs, and he gave him the lambs as a sign. So basically, he paid him like, look, I dug this well, so here's 7 lambs that I'm giving to you, as so that you will witness that this is my well that I dug. And that's the covenant that they made. And Abraham sojourned in the Philistines and stayed there, or Philistines, and stayed there many days. Now, does anybody have anything they want to bring out in this chapter? What was that?
You gotta speak up. He went to the son, right? And they had a feast because he went to the son, right? Right. Was that just to bring him into the covenant? That's how important that was?
No, I believe he was just happy to have a son, and his son was weaned. This had nothing to do with the covenant. This is Abraham took it upon himself to have a celebration for his son Isaac because he was weaned. Anybody else have any? There's a lot in here. Anybody else have anything else? If not, well, let's check this out. Let's talk about this real fast, right? So we know the son of Hagar, the Egyptian, right? So Hagar was an Egyptian, right? Which was a dark-skinned race, right? And we know that Abraham was of Shem, who was a dark-skinned race. And then Hagar gave, she took Ishmael, a wife, out of the land of Egypt, which was also a dark-skinned race, her own people.
Right.
So the Ishmaelites, the original Ishmaelites, were dark-skinned people and is a dark-skinned people.
Right. Right.
Right? Because if his mother was Egyptian, his father was Shemitic, right? And then he took a Egyptian wife. We talking about dark-skinned people here, right? We're not talking about those Turkish Arabs who claim to be descendants of Ishmael.
Quote-unquote olive complexion people.
The quote-unquote olive complexion people. Now, how about this, though? Because we're going to go straight into that story of what that happened. But, how do you think Abraham must have felt to have to send his, for lack of better term, baby's mom and his child away?
And his first child.
Away. That had to be difficult because you see right here, it was hard for Abraham to deal with it.
Right.
The Most High had to come unto him. He said, and the thing was grievous in Abraham's sight because of his son.
Right. Like, who wants to send their son out into the wilderness?
Right.
I mean, it's one thing if you're telling me to put her away, but you're telling me to put my son out.
Right.
Because and it's crazy when you think about it because they were kids. Her kid he was being a kid. And she was like, yeah, I don't like him being a kid, so he got to go, and his mom got to go too.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that, and I was while we were reading this, I was thinking like, well, dang, you know what I mean? Well, who did Hagar end up with? You know what I mean? Because if she's in the land of the Philistines, she ended up going back to Egypt to get him to get him a wife.
Right.
Like, did she link up with somebody else? You know what I mean? Like, where was that? Where is that at? How did she get back to Egypt? You know what I mean? If he just put her out like, yeah, you got here go your bottle of water, here go your bread. You know what I mean? May the Most High be with you. and they sent her on her way. But she ended up making it all the way to Egypt to get him a wife.
Right.
I mean, like, we ain't talking going from like up here on Arlington Avenue down to Carson Street. We talking she made it a ways.
Right. To go get him a wife of her people.
Right.
Right. And right here, wasn't it in this chapter where the Most High told him that, that Isaac will be the promised seed? Didn't we read that?
Isaac's going to be the heir. Like, don't even worry about it. But I'm still going to make a great nation out of your first son.
Right. Where's that? Where's that at? Oh, it's right here. It says, "Let it not be grievous in the sight because of the lad, and because of thy bondwoman, and all that Sarah have said unto thee, hearken unto her voice, for in Isaac shall thy seed be called."
Right.
Right. So the promise will come through Isaac and not Ishmael.
Because when she approached him about it, that was her issue. She didn't say nothing about the mocking. You know what I mean? She ain't say nothing about him just being a kid. She was like, nah, he ain't gonna be heir to our throne or inheritance. You know what I mean? That's all my sons. Even though this whole situation was brought about because she jumped the gun and gave him Hagar.
Right. Absolutely. So how about what about our brothers and sisters who are still under a strong delusion and has not been awakened, who follow Islam or Farrakhan and Rizza? I heard Farrakhan this week. I listened to Rizza this week, and both of them out of their mouths said that they know that we are the children of Israel. Both of them, both Rizza and Farrakhan, but yet they follow after the religion of Ishmael.
And see, and that to me, stuff like that is the reason why I still look at the whole 2/3, whether it's happened before, happening again in the wilderness. Because you have so many people, like you said, that know who we are, and they just ain't following the law, statutes, and commandments. So I feel that once we, you know what I mean, when us as a nation of a people go into the wilderness and we go under that, he's pleading with us there. He's basically giving everybody another chance. Look, either get down or lay down. Is you coming or not? You know who you are. I've showed you who you are by doing the Exodus and bringing you out of another house of bondage. Either you're going to ride with me or you're not. And if you don't, that's fine and dandy. But the fact that you got so many people that make that statement, yeah, we know we're the children of Israel. Yeah, we know about the 12 tribes, but you're not living accordingly, just makes me believe that this thing's going, that whole thing's going to play out exactly again.
Absolutely. And I'm just going to show real fast what Brother Derek's talking about. Brother Derek's talking about Ezekiel 20, right? I mean, Ezekiel 20 and 34, I believe, right? So he's talking about Ezekiel 20, where it says, I think it's 34. So he says, and I will bring you out from the people, which we're still among the people right now, and will gather you out of the countries wherein ye are scattered, which we're still in those countries. And we'll know when he gather us out, because he said he'll do it with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out. So we'll be seeing things like COVID-19 and other things, right? And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face, like as I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness in the land of Egypt. So will I plead with you, saith Yah Elohim. And I will cause you to pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant. That's the new covenant, right? And I will purge out from among you the rebels. This is what Brother Derek's talking about. And them that transgress against me. He said, I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn, but they shall not enter into the land of Israel. So yes, there will be. So when we come out of this captivity, when he brings us out in this second Exodus and bring us back into the wilderness like he did with our forefathers, there's going to be people who's going to die in that wilderness.
Right.
Because of their unbelief, because of their disobedience, because of and so Farrakhan and Rizza, we just read here. This is what I don't understand. It says, Isaac, through Isaac shall be the seed. Isaac shall thy seed be called, not Ishmael. He told him specifically.
Hey, Big Light.
Yes, sir.
I was gonna wait. But you explained a lot of stuff. I was gonna say that I used to be in dialogue with Rizzo on Instagram, and ever since I asked him a question, I didn't go at him hard. I said, okay, well, you're saying that Farrakhan is in the final thought. The Israelites are black. I said, you act like he just found that information now, but back in the 60s, your man Malcolm X Ben said that in his speech. You feel me? He always talked about that. The origin of Lazarus, it was dead for 4 days and we will rise, et cetera, et cetera. But I said, okay, well, let's find his daddy because he introduced his nephew. His name was Judah Islam, right?
Wow.
He introduced his nephew on Instagram. This is my nephew. Guess what his name is? Check this out. Judah Islam. See, we know what it is. I said, man, come on with that BS. I said, we Israel. I said, why don't you go back and tell your leader, Farrakhan artist, to stop acting like he don't know. If he really know, to start preaching and teaching the truth. Start telling them they got to keep the law, statutes, and commandments, my brother. I said, all Israel ain't Israel.
See, that's just the thing right there. You know what I'm saying? First of all, you got people who's trying to take this awakening, like, you know what I'm saying, and connect it to other things. You got certain brothers who's trying to connect this Hebraic thought to Egyptology and walk hand in hand with that. Then you got other brothers who's trying to walk hand in hand with Islam and the Hebraic thought. And you can't serve two masters like the Most High said. So let me ask y'all a question. So being that Rizza know that we the children of Israel, he said it out of his mouth, it's recorded. Same thing with Farrakhan.
Yes.
Why do y'all think they continue to teach Islam then?
Because they're the serpent seed.
Thank you. Period. And the thing is, I asked him that. I said, if you know we're Israel, then why aren't you acting like we Israel and living like we Israel? Why are you still embracing an Arabian concept of a God?
I mean, because a lot of what we're looking at here is the leaders in the state, like you said, are the seed of the serpent. The rest of them are just like the people in Christianity under a strong delusion. But the problem is with, like you were saying, Big Ock, with them trying to merge Egyptology and all these other things with this awakening. That's Amos 3:3 right there. We keep looking at Amos 3:3 as within the house of the Hebraic community. It's these other people that's trying to link into it. Right. It's where there's Amos 3:3. I can't walk with you and you praying to Allah. We can't walk together and you serving Buddha. You know what I mean? Like we have to be on one accord. The Hebraic community, we may have difference in doctrine, but we're still serving the same thing. So that's why I'm saying, you know what I mean, these people that are doing this, like I said, some of them just blindly don't know.
Right.
But you have the higher ups in these organizations who know exactly what they're doing, why they're doing what they're doing, and they're going to continue to play it out until it comes time for him to come back. Until it comes time for the Exodus, they're still going to keep being deceitful. And he said that was going to happen, though.
That's right. Absolutely. So Amos 3:3, right? Can two walk together except they be agreed? Does this what we call the Holy Bible or the canon? Does it agree with the Quran? Does it agree with the Book of Dead?
Nope.
And it always baffled me, you know what I mean, just dealing with the few Muslims that I dealt with. Why are you quoting from my book?
Oh, they always quote out the Bible.
But your book is supposed to be the holy one. Why you keep referencing my book to give valid points? That doesn't make any sense to me.
And you know
Isn't that what Satan do though?
Say that again.
Isn't that what Satan do though? He tell the truth and tell lies.
Yes, he does.
None.
And you know what though, Benaiah?
Yes, sir.
When me and Wade converse with them, they always get upset because I come to find out I know more about the Quran than they do, majority of them anyway, because they embraced it in the conversion of an oppressive state, which mainly be incarceration. Just
Right.
like Muhammad beheaded them and forced a lot of our people to convert into Islam. That's the name of the book. Captured by the Crescent, Conversions of an Oppressive State. That's my next book. But as I explained to a Muslim brother, I said, according to your Quran, you are not to downgrade the book, which means the Bible. I said, and according to your Quran, even Allah chose Bantu Israel, children of Israel, above all his creation. But your Quran is written for Arabs. It was presented by Arab. I said, that alone should make you wake up, man. You're not Arab.
Right.
Are you trying to convert me into the Israelite religion? I said, first of all, we don't follow man-made religions, brother. I said, listen, an Oriental will try to convert you into being a Buddhist, just like Arabian convert you by force to being an Islam. I said, my brother, I follow no religion. I can't force you and convert you into something you already are. I just gotta wake you up. I'm trying to do that, you know. But like you said, there is a strong delusion, you know. And like Kitty Cat said, all that stuff is gonna play out in the wilderness. They're gonna get handled with.
Right.
At the end of the day, we're gonna all be together. And that reminded me, and real quick, it reminded me of a story when I was a Christian, and it made sense because they said that they was in Russia somewhere. And they was holding secret Bible studies because they was destroying the Bible and everything and getting rid of any believer of the Bible. No matter who you called the Most High, just a believer of the Bible, they was destroying you.
Right.
So they said 3 soldiers came into this one house with their AKs drawn and said, who's all true believers in here? If you ain't a true believer, get out now. We'll spare you. They said majority of them fled, only 4 of them stayed. After they left, the soldiers locked the door, put their guns down, and said, we only want to worship with the true believers. You feel me?
Right.
That's deep, ain't it?
Right. It is.
Instead of all the fake ones.
But you know, it's that strong delusion that the Most High has put on our people. You know, like he did this to us. You know, because of our disobedience. But then you got some people who it's their job to try to keep us under these delusions. This is the reason why I think Rizza and Farrakhan has a research team. Like he doesn't research this stuff. He has enough money to pay a research team to research history. He knows who we are, right? Now, for him to switch up and say, well, we got to go, we're the Israelites and we got to keep it how the Bible written. That means everything he said from that day past was a lie, right? He would lose his followers. He would lose his, you know, his people. He would lose his clout, so to speak. It's either that or it's his job to keep people under this false illusion. That's my opinion.
I'm gonna go with both.
Agree.
Does anybody else have anything else in
Nobody else got nothing in this chapter?
I have something to say before this. When he stated that the covenant was going to be through Isaac, and
Right.
most Muslims think as though being that Ishmael was the firstborn, that it automatically went to him. That's why I think like they have the delusion as, you know, because they say, you know, the first male have the seed. You know what I mean? Like have the
Or the
blessing
inheritance. Yeah,
and
right.
the inheritance. And meanwhile, it doesn't happen like that. It's who the Most High chose. And it always has been like that. Like, even as we read, it seems as though he pick and choose who he wants his inheritance to go through. And it has to go through a pure bloodline. And that's what happened. And then that's why people is under the impression like, oh, Ishmael is the blessing keeper. You feel what I'm saying? Like the blessing is upon Ishmael. When actually in our nationality, even with Isaac's name is laughter, like as if the Most High laughing at them because he knew that they were going to think like that. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I think the delusion is all based upon not just that alone. I mean, not just that alone, but partial that, like, you know, because they have a strong belief like Ishmael is the one.
Well, it's a delusion for our people who participate in
Right.
in Islam. It's a delusion but for true Ishmaelites, it's not a delusion. That's that's their reality, right?
Right.
But so this is the reason why Ishmael and our brother Esau, right, is our biggest enemies.
Right.
This is the reason why they're our biggest enemy, because Ishmael felt like the blessing should go to him because he's the firstborn, right? And then Esau was the firstborn of the twins of Esau and Jacob. So basically our brother and our uncle is our main enemies against us because they felt as if the inheritance should have went to them. And when you, like I said, when you think of it on a carnal level, you can understand how, like, if your father died and he left the inheritance to your little brother, if he was a man or a boy, right? He left the inheritance to your little brother. You're going to feel some type of way like, oh man, you know what I mean? He got the house and he got the car and he got the business. They left me $1,000 and gave it all to him, right? And then your little brother, he has twins, right? And he leaves everything to his youngest twin. So the oldest twin is mad, like, oh, I was the firstborn twin. Daddy should have left everything granddaddy left him to me. You know what I mean? So now your uncle and your brother is conspiring against you to get the blessing back because both of them believe it should have went to them.
Right.
And then there's a difference between the Islamic faith and the Nation of Islam.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like what Farrakhan is teaching, and that's why when Malcolm X went and took his trip to Mecca and came back, it was like, this ain't even that. You teaching something completely different than what they're teaching over there.
Right.
And that's when he started to pull away from them. You know what I mean? So it's an even stronger delusion. Basically, the Nation of Islam is just like Christianity. It's another form of church.
It is. Of Circe. It absolutely is. It's idol worshiping and everything.
Right. And man worshiping.
And man worshiping,
Yes.
yes. All right, so if no one, and it's funny too, you know what I mean, that our see how the spirit was moving, that our law of the day was about swearing.
Right.
Bring it out, bro.
Right. We literally, and this is the second week in a row this has happened.
Right.
You know what I mean? That the law that we present for the week goes hand in hand with what's going on. Because right here, he done swore an oath with Abimelech about this daggone well. Which is interesting that he's saying, you know what I mean? And like I say all the time, you know what I mean? The laws are just like the laws of the land here, or signs on the road, or when you're out seeing a sign. There's a reason for it. You know what I mean? He didn't just come up one day and was like, I think I just don't want y'all to swear. Nah, people are swearing and making oaths, and it's causing situations to happen to where he's like, you know what? You don't even need to do that no more.
Right. Right. So he made so this is the half that Brother Derek was touching on when he brought out Leviticus 5:1, to let your yays be yay and your nay be nay, right? Because Abimelech told Abraham to swear, that for generations that you and my son and your sons won't have a problem. And Abraham said, I swear, right? So that means Abraham has to keep that promise, right? Because if
Right.
Abraham wasn't going to keep it, didn't have any intentions to keep it, didn't think he could keep it, this was Abraham's opportunity to let his nay be nay.
But I mean, the problem with this oath that they made, I might not even be around when the problems go down between our kids.
Right.
You mean, like you're trying to get me to promise that my great grandkids ain't gonna have a problem with your great grandkids over this. I can't guarantee that at that point.
Right.
Right.
But you're held at you see what I'm saying? The Most High is not a respecter of person.
Right.
The Most High is a Elohim of covenants. So when we look, everything that he have dealt with leading up to Israel and through Israel was all through covenants. So the Most High takes covenants very, very serious. Very, very serious, right? So if you make a covenant with somebody, or oath, or if you swear, is you gonna do it, bro? Man, I swear, man, I promise you I'm gonna do it, bro. By law, you have to, it's actually a sin not to do what you promised to do.
Right.
But how much easier it is to let your yays be yay and your nays be nay. As kids, we understood, as children, I should say, we understood this. And as parents, we understand it now, right? It's like, so when my children come to me and ask something that I know I don't feel like doing, you know what I mean? And you don't want to lie to them, so we hit them with the, well, we'll see. Well, we'll see. I don't know. I'll let you know, right? But that's to keep from saying, yes, I'll take you to the doll shop when you know you ain't gonna take them to the doll shop, right? But if you say yes, you gotta take them.
I try to just hit them with a no as soon as they show up. Nope. You ain't even like it sound like spending money, and you ain't even opened your mouth yet. Nope.
I try to make sure I leave nope on the table. I might not say it, but that option is still on the table. I didn't say for sure. All right, so let's go into deep, because right here we get the understanding right here that that maybe Abraham was a little boy, or Ishmael was a little boy when he got sent away, and everything else he was still a baby or whatever. But let's go into get more details. Then we're gonna come back to Genesis. But let's go get some more details on this story right here. And we're gonna jump over to Jubilee chapter 17, and get more information on what happened that led up to cause Sarah to want to send Hagar away. So whenever the reader's ready.
All right, so the book of Jubilees, chapter 17, the expulsion of Hagar and Ishmael. And in the first year of the 5th week, Isaac was weaned in this Jubilee. And Abraham made a great banquet in the 3rd month, on the day his son Isaac was weaned. And Ishmael, the son of Hagar, the Egyptian, was before the face of Abraham, his father, in his place, and Abraham rejoiced and blessed Elohim because he had seen his sons and had not died childless. And he remembered the words which he had spoken to him on the day on which Lot had parted from him. And he rejoiced because Yah had given him seed upon the earth to inherit the earth. And he blessed with all his mouth the creator of all things. And Sarah saw Ishmael playing and dancing, and Abraham rejoicing with great joy. And she became jealous of Ishmael and said to Abraham, cast out this bondwoman and her son, for the son of this bondwoman will not be heir with my son Isaac. And the thing was grievous in Abraham's sight, because of his maidservant and because of his son, that he should drive them from him. And Elohim said to Abraham, let it not be grievous in thy sight, because of the child and because of the bondwoman. And all that Sarah hath said unto thee, hearken to her words and do them. For in Isaac shall thy name and seed be called. But as for the son of this bondwoman, I will make him a great nation, because he is of thy seed. And Abraham rose up early in the morning, and took bread and a bottle of water, and placed them on the shoulders of Hagar and the child. and sent her away. And she departed and wandered in the wilderness of Beersheba. And the water in the bottle was spent, and the child thirsted, and was not able to go on, and fell down. And his mother took him and cast him under an olive tree, and went and sat her down over against him at the distance of a bow shot. For she said, let me not see the death of my child. And as she sat, she wept. And an angel of Elohim, one of the holy ones, said unto her, why weepest thou, Hagar? Arise, take the child, and hold him in thine hand. For Elohim has heard thy voice, and hath seen the child. And she opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water. And she went and filled her bottle with water, and she gave her child to drink. And she arose and went towards the wilderness of Paran. And the child grew and became an archer. And Elohim was with him. And his mother took him a wife from among the daughters of Egypt. And she bare him a son. And he called his name Nebaioth. For she said, Yah was nigh to me when I called upon him. And it came to pass in the 7th week, in the 1st year thereof, in the 1st month in this Jubilee. On the 12th of this month, there were voices in heaven regarding Abraham, that he was faithful in all, that he was faithful in all that he told him, and that he loved Yah, and that in every affliction he was faithful. And the prince Mestema came and said before Elohim, behold, Abraham loves Isaac his son, and he delights in him above all things else. Bid him offer him as a burnt offering on the altar, and thou wilt see if he will do this command. And thou wilt know if he is faithful in everything wherein thou dost try him. And Yah knew that Abraham was faithful in all his afflictions, for he had tried him through his country and with famine, and had tried him with the wealth of kings, and had tried him again through his wife, when she was torn from him, and with circumcision, and had tried him through Ishmael and Hagar, his maidservant, when he sent them away. And in everything wherein he had tried him, he was found faithful. And his soul was not impatient, and he was not slow to act, for he was faithful and a lover of Yah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. So, brief recap. So, it's a retelling of the feast that Abraham threw for Isaac when he was weaned, right? And he celebrated before the Most High because the Most High did not leave him childless, and he had blessed him, right? And then one day, Sarah, according to Jubilees, Sarah saw Ishmael playing and dancing, and she became jealous of Ishmael and said to Abraham to cast out the bondwoman and her son. And it was grievous to Abraham, and the Most High told him to hearken unto the words of Sarah, for in Isaac shall thy name be called. But he will make a great nation out of Ishmael, for he is his son. So he did send them with a bottle of water and some bread, and they ran out of water, and the child was crying, and she laid him under the tree, and that's when the angel came and told her that he would be a great nation. So, and then there's another account of her taking him a wife from Egypt. And then we go on to Mastema, which we read like in Jubilees, something like 6, where he first came on the scene, where he was the, this is who we call Hashatan, or the Satan, or the adversary, or who they call the devil. He was the one that once the Most High had decided to bind up Azazel and all those ones that he asked that the Most High leave him some angels to do his bidding. This is that same Mastema, right? And he comes before the Most High, and he tells the Most High that, Abraham loves Isaac more than he loves him. That, ever since Isaac was born, all he does is celebrate Isaac. So he wanted to tempt Abraham. So it was basically a bet that the adversary made with the Most High, that to tempt Abraham, just like we're going to read about Job. But Abraham was found faithful in all his things. And it said the Most High knew that he was faithful, and he had tried him in a lot of things. And that's where we're going to stop right there. And we're going to let people bring out what they want to bring out in this chapter. Anybody?
I just love this in our Thursday readings because it really just matches up to why Abraham was the Most High's favorite, like his best friend. Like, go get. I'm gonna send my first angel to go get my best friend because he's worthy of it. Like, and that just shows you don't always seek the Most High in good and bad. Like,
Absolutely. And see, and this is what I wanted to leave room for others to touch on. But this is why, because the Most High said that he knew that Abraham, but he said that the Most High knew Abraham was faithful in all his afflictions. But he said because he had tried him. See, a lot of times, a lot of things that we go through, there are a lot of things that we're going through, and then a lot of things that we will go through will be a test from the Most High, right? And that's how you give a testimony. Like Big Brother O'Day said, you can't give a testimony without a test, right? So you got to be tried and see how you walk out of it. Now, how was Ismail? So it gave example. He said he tried him through his country, right? How did he try him through his country? With the famine. So he tried him through his country when his father, right, was serving. His father Terah was who was in second command for Nimrod, who was in charge of creating the idols and everything like that, right? And his whole nation. He said he brought Abraham out of the land of Chaldees, where they worship other idols, right? But Abraham was in that land trying to first find the Most High. So he prevailed through that. He didn't fall into worshiping those idols that his countrymen had worshipped, right? Then he tried him with the wealth of kings, where the king tried to bring him money. Remember after he went and got Lot back in the battle of the kings that we read about, and the king of I think it was Gomorrah came and tried to give him some money, and Abraham said, "No, I won't take your money," and he relied on the Most High and everything else, right? So he tried him with the wealth of kings to see if he would turn away from him, right? And he tried him again through his wife, right? But then it says, but she was torn from him. When she was torn from him, right? So he tried him again through his wife, right? And but through all of this, even with circumcision, like he got circumcised at 99 years old or something like that, right? And he tried him through Ishmael and Hagar. How did he try him through Ishmael and Hagar? How we talked about how hard it would have been to send your baby's mom and your firstborn child away, right? But he sent them away. So all these things that the Most High tried, but he hearkened and did what the Most High told him to do. Now, out of all those things, how many of us would have turned back on one of them? Like, especially this one, tried him through Ishmael and Hagar. How many of us would have had the dream and the Most High came to us and said, listen to your wife and send her away? And then we would have woke up from that dream and made an excuse and said, no, that was just a dream, man. I ain't about to send my firstborn son away. You know what I mean? But he listened. He didn't turn away. You know what I mean? And all these things with circumcision, the Most High came to you at 99 years old and it told you got to cut yourself and all the other men among you. You know, he didn't say, oh, that's crazy. I ain't doing that, man. Never mind. You know, right? He was faithful. Right? He was faithful in all those things. He hearkened to the Most High.
No questions asked.
No questions asked. And that's why he's known for being faithful and a lover of the Most High.
That's why he called him his friend.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because no one else was that faithful.
So let's jump over to Jasher and get the same story. Now, remember, according to this story, Sarah saw him dancing and was jealous, right? Yeah. But is there more to the story than that? Let's jump over to Jasher and see if we can find more of that story of how what led Sarah to send Hagar and Ishmael away. And we're going to go to Jasher chapter 21, starting at verse 21. At verse 1, whenever the reader's ready.
Book of Jasher 21. And it was at that time, at the end of a year and 4 months of Abraham's dwelling in the land of the Philistines in Gerar, that Elohim visited Sarah, and Yah remembered her, and she conceived and bare a son to Abraham. And Abraham called the name of his son, which was born to him, which Sarah bare to him, Isaac. And Abraham circumcised his son Isaac at 8 days old, as Elohim had commanded Abraham to do unto his seed after him. And Abraham was 100, and Sarah was 90 years old, when Isaac was born to them. And the child grew up, and he was weaned. And Abraham made a great feast upon the day that Isaac was weaned. And Shem and Eber and all the great people of the land, and Abimelech, king of the Philistines, and his servants, and Phicol, the captain of his host, came to eat and drink and rejoice at the feast which Abraham made upon the day of his son Isaac being weaned. Also, Terah, the father of Abraham, and Nahor his brother came from Haran, they and all belonging to them, for they greatly rejoiced on hearing that a son had been born to Sarah. And they came to Abraham, and they ate and drank at the feast which Abraham made upon the day of Isaac's being weaned. And Terah and Nahor rejoiced with Abraham, and they remained with him many days in the land of the Philistines. At that time, Serug, the son of Reu, died in the first year of the birth of Isaac, son of Abraham. And all the days of Serug were 239 years, and he died. And Ishmael, the son of Abraham, was grown up in those days. He was 14 years old when Sarah bare Isaac to Abraham. And Elohim was with Ishmael, the son of Abraham. And he grew up, and he learned to use the bow and became an archer. And when Isaac was 5 years old, he was sitting with Ishmael at the door of the tent. And Ishmael came to Isaac and seated himself opposite to him. And he took the bow and drew it, and put the arrow in it, and intended to slay Isaac. And Sarah saw the act which Ishmael desired to do to her son Isaac, and it grieved her exceedingly on account of her son. And she sent for Abraham, and said to him, Cast out this bondwoman and her son, for her son shall not be heir with my son. For thus did he seek to do unto him this day. And Abraham hearkened to the voice of Sarah, and he rose up early in the morning, and he took 12 loaves and a bottle of water, which he gave to Hagar. And he sent her away with her son. And Hagar went with her son to the wilderness, and they dwelt in the wilderness of Haran, with the inhabitants of the wilderness. And Ishmael was an archer, and he dwelt in the wilderness a long time. And he and his mother afterward went to the land of Egypt, and they dwelt there. And Hagar took a wife for her son from Egypt, and her name was Meribah. And the wife of Ishmael conceived and bare 4 sons and 2 daughters. And Ishmael and his mother and his wife and children afterward went and returned to the wilderness. And they made themselves tents in the wilderness, in which they dwelt. And they continued to travel, and then to rest monthly and yearly. And Elohim gave Ishmael flocks and herds and tents on account of Abraham his father. And the man increased in cattle. And Ishmael dwelt in deserts and in tents, traveling and resting for a long time. And he did not see the face of his father. And in some time after, Abraham said to Sarah his wife, I will go and see my son Ishmael, for I have a desire to see him, for I have not seen him for a long time. And Abraham rode upon one of his camels to the wilderness to seek his son Ishmael, for he heard that he was dwelling in a tent in the wilderness with all belonging to him. And Abraham went to the wilderness, and he reached the tent of Ishmael about noon. And he asked after Ishmael, and he found the wife of Ishmael sitting in the tent with her children. And Ishmael, her husband, and his mother were not with them. And Abraham asked the wife of Ishmael, saying, Where has Ishmael gone? And she said, He has gone to the field to hunt. And Abraham was still mounted upon the camel, for he would not get off to the ground, as he had sworn to his wife Sarah that he would not get off from the camel. And Abraham said to Ishmael's wife, My daughter, give me a little water that I may drink, for I am fatigued from the journey. And Ishmael's wife answered and said to Abraham, We have neither water nor bread. And she continued sitting in the tent and did not notice Abraham. Neither did she ask him who he was. But she was beating her children in the tent, and she was cursing them. And she also cursed her husband Ishmael and reproached him. And Abraham heard the words of Ishmael's wife to her children, and he was very angry and displeased. And Abraham called to the woman to come out to him from the tent. And the woman came and stood opposite to Abraham, for Abraham was still mounted upon the camel. And Abraham said to Ishmael's wife, when thy husband Ishmael returneth home, say these words to him. A very old man from the land of the Philistines came hither to seek thee. And thus was his appearance and figure. I did not ask him who he was, and seeing thou was not here, he spoke unto me and said, when Ishmael thy husband returneth, tell him thus did this man say, when thou comest home, put away this nail of the tent which thou hast placed here, and place another nail in its stead. And Abraham finished his instructions to the woman, and he turned and went off on the camel homeward. And after that, Ishmael came home from the chase, he and his mother, and returned to the tent, and his wife spoke these words to him. A very old man from the land of Philistines came to seek thee. And thus was his appearance and figure. I did not ask him who he was, and seeing thou was not at home, he said to me, when thy husband cometh home, tell him, thus saith the old man, put away the nail of the tent which thou hast placed here, and place another nail in its stead. And Ishmael heard the words of his wife, and he knew that it was his father, and that his wife did not honor him. And Ishmael understood his father's words that he had spoken to his wife, and Ishmael hearkened to the voice of his father. And Ishmael cast off that woman, and she went away. And Ishmael afterward went to the land of Canaan, and he took another wife, and he brought her to his tent, to the place where he then dwelt. And at the end of 3 years, Abraham said, I will go again and see see Ishmael my son, for I have not seen him for a long time. And he rode upon his camel and went to the wilderness. And he reached the tent of Ishmael about noon. And he asked after Ishmael, and his wife came out of the tent, and she said, he is not here, my lord, for he has gone to hunt in the fields, and to feed the camels. And the woman said to Abraham, turn in, my lord, into the tent, and eat a morsel of bread, for thy soul must be wearied on account of the journey. And Abraham said to her, I will not stop, for I am in haste to continue my journey. But give me a little water to drink, for I have thirst. And the woman hastened and ran into the tent, and she brought out water and bread to Abraham, which she placed before him, and she urged him to eat. And he ate and drank, and his heart was comforted, and he blessed his son Ishmael. And he finished his meal, and he blessed God. And he said to Ishmael's wife, when Ishmael cometh home, say these words to him. A very old man from the land of the Philistines came hither and seeked and asked after thee. And thou was not here. And I brought him out bread and water, and he ate and he drank, and his heart was comforted. And he spoke these words to me. When Ishmael thy husband cometh home, say unto him, the nail of the tent which thou hast is very good. Do not put it away from the tent. And Abraham finished commanding the woman, and he rode off to his home to the land of the Philistines. And when Ishmael came to his tent, his wife went forth to meet him with joy and a cheerful heart. And she said to him, an old man came here from the land of the Philistines, and thus was his appearance. And he asked after thee, and thou was not here. So I brought out bread and water, and he ate and drank, and his heart was comforted. And he spoke these words to me. When Ishmael thy husband cometh home, say to him, the nail of the tent which thou hast is very good. Do not put it away from the tent. And Ishmael knew that it was his father, and that his wife had honored him. And God blessed Ishmael. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. All praises to the Most High. So, a real quick recap over this chapter real fast. So, again, Isaac is born. The Most High, Abraham had a feast. Now we get to see some people who was still alive, right? Because it wasn't until after Peleg was born, right, that people on the other side of the flood and stuff like that were born their age started to decrease, right? So
Right.
Shem was still alive, and Eber, right? And they came to Ishmael's weaning party,
Right.
right? And also his grandfather Terah came, and his uncle Nahor, and they came on account of Sarah, which was, Terah's niece, right?
Right.
It was probably Nahor's daughter. So I think Sarah is Nahor's daughter, right? And they came to Abraham, and they ate and drank at the feast, and they rejoiced. And Ishmael grows up, right? So Ishmael was 13 years old when Isaac was born, right? So now at this time, if Isaac was 5 years old, Ishmael's 18. And Ishmael's sitting at the door of the tent, playing like a little 5-year-old kid. And Ishmael comes and sit opposite of him and draw his bow and arrow. Like in today's turn, it was like he came and sat next to him and pointed his gun at him. And Sarah saw that, and she got it, flabbergasted, and called Abraham and had him send them away, which Abraham did, right? And Abraham and Ishmael's mother found him a wife out of Egypt. But when Abraham went to go see her, she wasn't real hospitable. She cursed the children and cursed Ishmael. So he left a message with her to give to Ishmael to put that nail out of the tent. And Ishmael hearkened to the words of his father, and then he went to the land of Canaan, which was another dark-skinned people, and took him another wife. And then when Abraham came back to see Ishmael 3 years later, this woman was very hospitable. And Abraham blessed Ishmael and went on his way. Now, does anybody have anything they want to bring out in this chapter? Say that again. We can't hear you.
He said, when did they turn the nails in the CYS? What in those CYS back then?
Well, the nail. See. Well, what does what?
The nail was the white.
The nail.
It was basically an analogy for the one who's taking care of the house, who's holding the house down.
Right.
You know what I mean? You always look at the wife. The dad go out and he work. I mean, take care of bringing home the quote unquote turkey bacon. Mommy stay home, nurture the kids, make sure the house is taken care of. So what he was saying is, hey, this is a bad nail. You need to get rid of this one because she don't know how to be a wife and a mother.
Because what's going to happen when you got a bad nail and a strong storm going to come? It's going to blow your tent away. It's going to blow your whole house away. So the analogy is, having a weak nail or a bad nail or a bad wife. When storm comes, your whole household is going to collapse.
I just wanted to bring out when we see what really upsets Sarah. And I think that was extremely important. That's why I love how we go from Genesis, because you get to see the way in which they watered things down, right? It went from mocking to, I can't remember the second word that was used in the second book that we used, that we read, but then it was the truth.
It was jealousy in a second. She was jealous.
She was
jealous, but in all reality, he was jealous. Like, you're so much older. Think about how parents who have older kids and they see the older kid doing something to their baby, extremely upset. So being as though that wasn't her child, and you're sitting there aiming at my son as if you'll do something to him, that was probably the spirit moving on her, like, oh, get him away from him. Because at the end of the day, he probably was jealous. You know what I mean? That he had a younger son and just was insecure.
the way that he was interacting. But when you
Right.
think about it, that was probably like the final straw.
Yeah.
It wasn't like one day he woke up and was like, I'm gonna aim my bow and arrow. He
Right.
like he was doing stuff to
Right.
myself
Right.
all the time.
Yeah.
And now this right here, I can't do no more. You gotta go.
But when you think it would become like an issue, it started with his mother when she was with child for this with Ishmael. Remember how she was taught in Sarah all along and stuff like that?
Right.
Like, and she left. She fled the first time.
Right.
Then she came back. The angel of the Most High told her to go back. So, she had to hearken unto Sarah. So that behavior came from, how they say, like when a woman is with child and some of her characteristics the child has, like say if she like saying she like to lay with a pillow on her stomach and that child comes out wanting a pillow and wanting to have a pillow all the time. So that's where I think Ishmael got those behaviors from. I don't think like he understood what he was doing was right, or wrong. I think that's where it all began at with his mother.
I mean, if we were to look at everyday life, we could come up with a lot of explanations of why we think that. Because what you're saying makes sense. Also, what also makes sense to me is like how how certain parents can talk about another parent, like if you have a baby's mom or baby's dad, so to speak, right, which is part of the curses of Deuteronomy 28. But if you had it. You know how some baby's mom or some baby's dad will talk bad about the baby dad or the baby mom, and the child will start to behave and adapt to it, right? So we can imagine how Hagar would probably talk about Sarah and Isaac,
right? And no telling
Ishmael
how
would hear it. You know what I mean?
No telling how she was feeling. She probably thought like, okay, Abraham was going to put away Sarah because she did give him her first, and then she did give him his first son. You know what I mean? And then it's just a beautiful thing, like just with Abraham alone, just being not even in his feelings. I mean, he felt a certain type of way, but he still was obedient to the word of Yah. You know what I mean? Like everything was just lined up into place. And I agree because he couldn't partake in the blessing that was bestowed on Isaac. He couldn't.
Right.
So I mean,
right. So I'm imagining, look, they throw a party. He didn't throw a party for Ishmael.
Right.
Throw a party for Aaron, and Terah come and everybody coming and everything. You know what I mean? And Ishmael's the firstborn. He's the one everybody's supposed to be rejoicing around. So I mean, it could have been talked like that. Yeah, very well could have been, right?
And I can even go back to the prodigal son. You know how the prodigal son, the one son thought, why are you doing this? You don't know, do this for me. Meanwhile, he come a son that's been disobedient and took his inheritance and left, but you doing this for him. You feel what I'm saying? So it's just a beautiful thing, even with him saying like the first wife. Okay, that was the wife that the mother chose, not the Most High. You feel what I'm saying? The mother chose that wife, which was a poor judgment on character for this having a wife.
Isn't there some similarities between the wife that his mother chose and his mother? Like I can see similarities in the attitude and in the personalities. Now, is that the ways of the Egyptian woman?
Right.
Was that the ways of the Egyptian woman?
That tells a lot. Yes. That tells a lot. And that's why he said put away her. Like she's not good. You feel what I'm saying?
About it, everybody went back to their people to get their child.
Right.
Right. You right.
Of course she's gonna go back to her people because she like, I want my blood. We need our bloodline to work.
And yeah, it's funny.
It didn't work because you're not you can't get the inheritance because you're not of the pure bloodline of Abraham.
Right. And like Sarah was, because Sarah's what? Nahor's daughter, right?
Right.
His uncle's daughter, right? So but it's funny what you just said, because throughout this book we see evidence of people going back to their own people, even if they were far away from their homeland, going back to their own people to find sons and daughters or husbands and wives for their children, right? Even Ishmael's mom went all the way back to Egypt. You know we're gonna read later where Isaac has his Eleazar, or Abraham has Eleazar go all the way back to his people
Right.
to find a wife, you know what I mean? But and even today, right? Even today, like I've heard stories about our Nigerian brothers and sisters who I believe are of the Southern Kingdom as well. But they keep the marry your own people, right? They get upset if a Nigerian who look just like us was to marry another African American. Like they get, or to marry an African American, they would get upset. They have to go back, and if you know any Nigerians, they'll tell you that they have to go back and marry. They might be able to sleep with somebody, but when it's time to get married, they gotta go back and marry their own people. Even the Arabs, even the Japanese, even the Chinese. Who's the only people who's running around here trying to marry everybody but their own people?
I just want to bring out another thing though before I forget about it. See how his mother had came and took him and got a wife for him, but see how the Most High moved on Abraham to even have him to think about his son. You know what I mean? To go and see about his well-being and see if he's prospering. You know what I mean? And when he got there, the first wife didn't, please him. He's like, no, there's no way. So then he left, and then it came on his heart again to go visit his son again, which Ishmael wasn't there a second time. And then when he was greeted by this one, he said, keep her. You feel what I mean? It goes deep. That's a good, and that's like the Most High. If you look at it, the Most High chose that woman for him.
And here's the thing. Like what stands out to me on that story right there is the fact that, Abraham used language that was basically code between him and his son. Put the nail out, right? So which showed that Abraham must have had a relationship with Ishmael, right? That more than what we're reading. But prior to us reading that, we were given the impression that he sent Ishmael away as a little baby, and he was a deadbeat dad and never saw him again.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's why it's important to read line upon line. You know what I mean? Because you get more detail, and you just can't read one part and be like, oh, that's just it. You know what I mean? You gotta study and find yourself approved, because if you don't study, and you'll miss it. You know what I mean? Because even a person that reads, they'll miss it. And that's why it's important to read these other books, because it gives you detail from, the previous passage. And I think, it was very well, like that. Wow, Abraham had to go and pick a wife for his son. That just blew my mind. You know what I mean? And that was the second time. And that even goes back to when he had to, put away his son, and then turn around and had to put his other son on a chopping block. You feel what I'm saying? So it goes deep. It goes deep. That's a good way to go on being obedient, because he was obedient through it all. Like, wow. That's all that just amazes me.
Go ahead, Ariella.
I'm just thinking, like, just how predestined things are. Like the Most High predestines literally everything, every one of our moves. Anytime we think we get something that tells us to go do something, right? It's nothing but the Spirit. For him to tell Sarah, I want to go see my son, and to see that his grandchildren were being mistreated in a way in which, this wife ain't the one for you. So the Most High put that on his spirit to go and move. It just makes me think of our day to day, every day that we make a move, or every day that we do something, thinking it's just because we're doing it, not even knowing that everything is already written. And this is just a great example of how predestined every single move is. He said, now you see what your son got, boom, but you go visit him again, and once you go and visit him again, you let me know what you think about this one. You know what I mean? Like, that is phenomenal. All praises be to the Most High to know that every one of our steps are really ordered by him.
Hallelujah. And that goes to show, like, it's women today, even men, that's jealous of someone else's seed, and they don't want to partake in, like, say if a man or a woman coming up to a relationship or whatever, and they have children prior to that previous relationship. Some women or men wouldn't even accept it. It'd be a problem. So I see why Abraham said what he said. You know what I mean? Because it's not healthy. It's not healthy, just the children alone, it's not healthy. But even for the individuals that's and participants with what's going on, it's not healthy for nobody. So you're right about that, Ariella.
Thinking
Hold
about the obedience of Ishmael to even put her away. You know what I mean? He didn't let her because
Yes.
but he still respected his father enough to listen.
Yes.
That those wasn't her children.
Yes.
They could have still been her children, but you ain't here not taking care of our children the way they need to be. You gotta leave.
Hey man, you just brought out something that I didn't even realize. Like, he didn't put her and the children out.
No.
Right.
He put her out. So for those our brothers who on some other type stuff, right? Who want to put the woman and the children out and everything else like that. Like, nah, Ishmael had enough sense to take care of the children. No, I got the kids. You could go though. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy.
But the second wife came along and took care of everybody, even his father.
Right. And the second wife, when he came home, she was running out to see. She was happy to see.
He got a question.
Go ahead, E.
What's gonna happen if she didn't say that you got home?
I mean, but
How faithful he was. He ain't
But the thing about him not getting off that camel was your baby's mom lived there, B. You don't need to get off that camel. You go see your son, you bring your butt back home.
Right. You don't need to go, exactly. You don't need to go to the crib and all that and inside and all that.
You're not playing that game. You know what I mean? I'm not giving you okay to go be in the house. I ain't there to see what's going on anyway. But I don't trust her. So therefore, I'm telling you, since you faithful to me, don't get out that car. Don't go in that car.
Right. So
he didn't.
So this is the reason why we say, Abraham had the first baby mama drama, right? Because when he said that he was going to go see his son Ishmael, we know Sarah was like, yeah, okay, you going to go see Hagar. I'm going to go see my son. Yeah, you going to go see that bee. That's what you going to go see. I said, man, listen, I ain't even going to get off the camel. I'm going to just go, you know what I'm saying? You better not get off the camel. I mean, how else could that conversation have gone? But here's another thing that stood out to me that I didn't like. Like, if I ain't seen my dad, it said he ain't seen his dad in how long? It was it said I can't remember how long it said, but
David said it's been
it said it's been a while. Then he came to see him, and he at work. You come to see me, and I'm at work. I'm like, you from out of town. You come into town to see me, and I'm happen to be not at home because I'm at work. And then you go back home and don't come back for 3 years? Like, don't do that to me, Pop. Wait for me to get home or something. So like,
I mean, but there wasn't no phones. There wasn't
that goes to show, like you said, they had a relationship to where, it was a relationship to where even though he didn't see him in a long time, it still was there. He embedded that into him. And most women don't even want the father to be involved with the child, which is wrong, but it is what it is. But that was a blessing just within itself, even though he could have been like, man, forget him. He ain't even come see about me. He just now trying to explore it, and yet he still was like, oh, my dad said Oh, you gotta go.
So we're gonna get it. We're gonna get in even more deep to show that Abraham did have a real bond with his son Ishmael. He wasn't no deadbeat dad or nothing like that. But first of all, they had the code words that he knew. When he talked about put the nail out, he like when she said some old man came and he looked like this and he said that, he didn't answer her questions like, well, what's he, what did he come? Did he say where he was from? He knew immediately who it was based off of what was said, right? Now they had some code. So you can imagine him like, son, get you a tent. You want to get a strong nail to hold your tent down. And Abraham was known for his hospitality.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So when he saw somebody that wasn't like that, he was disgusted. Like,
oh, what is this?
And
and she
would have been dead.
What'd you say?
Nah, the apocalypse of Abraham, the testimony of Abraham. You know what I mean? He see the sinners and he's just devouring them. You know what I mean? Had the wild beasts grab the thieves, the people out having sex. He had the earth just open up on them. So she could, and his first wife would have just been dead. Like, nah, you
right.
Always that. Always. So they was communicating some kind of way. Spiritually, he always knew that.
Carry your pigeons.
That was the original tweeting.
That's where it comes from too.
The word is from the law that we came into today. You know what I mean?
She said.
The way he gave us should never be out in your oath. If you say something, stand on that. And everything we're reading, we're just seeing how Abraham, at the end of the day, down to just the camel situation. You know what I mean? Down to him sending his son off. He's like, yeah, I'm going to hearken unto your voice. I'm going to send him off, but I'm going to still have that's my son.
That's my son.
So we're still seeing why it's so important to keep your word. Like, even if it's between you and the Most High. He told his wife, I'm staying on a camel. He stayed on that camel. Like, that just, that just amazes me. But most importantly, it really moved me to the point where it's like, I don't care if it's something small or something big. We got to keep the word. We got to.
That's right. And the same way that we, Abraham was obedient to the Most High, like somebody just brought out, Ishmael was obedient to his father. Because remember, his mom found him that wife. But when he got home and heard the message, he was like, well, I got to put her away. He had to have a conversation with what you mean? His mom had to have something to say. I found that girl. She's a good girl from my hometown. I know her mama and such. Look, my dad said put her away. I'm putting her away.
And that was the end of it.
But look, let's go on the story. I want to at least get this next chapter in, right? Because we're going to see how good Abraham and Ishmael's relationship was, because Ishmael had to do something that some of us, probably all of us, had to do one or twice in our lives, unfortunately.
I know I did.
Had to move back home. So he had to move back home, right? So Ishmael, let's go on to Jasher 22 and see what happened to Ishmael and how he ended up moving back home with his dad's house, moving back to his dad's house with his children. They all land in Abraham's living room, kids running around, cereal all on the floor. But let's go to Jasher chapter 22 and read this. And then this is going to be a great discussion after this, whenever the reader's ready.
The book of Jasher chapter 22. And Ishmael then rose up and took his wife and his children and his cattle and all belonging to him. And he journeyed from there, and he went to his father in the land of the Philistines. And Abraham related to Ishmael his son the transaction with the first wife that Ishmael took, according to what she did. And Ishmael and his children dwelt with Abraham many days in that land. And Abraham dwelt in the land of the Philistines a long time. And the days increased and reached 26 years. And after that, Abraham with his servants and all belonging to him went from the land of the Philistines and removed to a great distance. And they came near to Hebron, and they remained there. And the servants of Abraham dug wells of water. And Abraham and all belonging to him dwelt by the water. And the servants of Abimelech, king of the Philistines, heard the report that Abraham's servants had dug wells of water in the borders of the land. And they came and quarreled with the servants of Abraham. And they robbed them of the great well which they had dug. And Abimelech, king of the Philistines, heard of this affair. And he was fickle, the captain of his host, and 20 of his men came to Abraham. And Abimelech spoke to Abraham concerning his servants. And Abraham rebuked Abimelech concerning the well of which his servants had robbed him. And Abimelech said to Abraham, as Yah liveth, who created the whole earth, I did not hear of the act which my servants did unto thy servants until this day. And Abraham took 7 ewe lambs and gave them to Abimelech, saying, take these, I pray thee, for my hands, that it may be a testimony for me that I dug this well. And Abimelech took the 7 ewe lambs which Abraham had given to him, for he had also given him cattle and herds in abundance. And Abimelech swore to Abraham concerning the well, therefore he called that well Beersheba, for there they both swore concerning it. And they both made a covenant of Beersheba, and Abimelech rose up with Phicol, the captain of his host, and all his men. And they returned to the land of the Philistines. And Abraham and all belonging to him dwelt in Beersheba, and he was in that land a long time. And Abraham planted a large grove in Beersheba, and he made it to 4 gates facing the 4 sides of the earth. And he planted a vineyard in it, so that if a traveler came to Abraham, he entered any gate which was in his road. And remained there and ate and drank and satisfied himself and then departed. For the house of Abraham was always open to the sons of men that passed and repassed, who came daily to eat and drink in the house of Abraham. And any man who had hunger and came to Abraham's house, Abraham would give him bread that he might eat and drink and be satisfied. And anyone that came naked to his house, he would clothe with garments as he might choose, and give him silver and gold, and make known to him that Yah, who had created him in the earth, this did Abraham all his life. And Abraham and his children and all belonging to him dwelt in Beersheba. And he pitched his tent as far as Hebron. And Abraham's brother Nahor and his father and all belonging to them dwelt in Haran, for they did not come with Abraham to the land of Canaan. And children were born to Nahor, which Milcah, the daughter of Haran, and sister of Sarah, Abraham's wife, bare to him. And these are the names of those that were born to him: Uz, Buz, Chemiel, Kesed, Shazo, Pildash, Tildath, and Bethuel, being 8 sons. These are the children of Milcah, which she bare to Nahor, Abraham's brother. And Nahor had a concubine, and her name was Rumah, and she also bare to Nahor Zabak, Gakash, Takash, and Maacah, being 4 sons. And the children that were born to Nahor were 12 sons besides his daughters, and they also had children born to them in Haran. And the children of Uz, the firstborn of Nahor, were Abi, Kareth, Gaden, Melas, and Deborah, their sister. And the sons of Buz were Barachel, Naamath, Shiva, and Madonu. And the sons of Chemiel were Aram and Rechab. And the sons of Kesed were Anamelech, Meshe, Benan, and Yiphi. And the sons of Kazo were Pildash, Makai, and Ophir. And the sons of Pildash were Arud, Kamum, Mered, and Molech. And the sons of Tildath were Mushan, Cushan, and Mutsi. And the children of Bethuel were Sakar, Laban, and their sister Rebekah. These are the families of the children of Nahor that were born to them in Haran. And Aram, the son of Kemuel, and Rechob, his brother, went away from Haran. And they found a valley in the land by the river Euphrates. And they built a city there. And they called the name of the city after the name of Pethor, the son of Aram, that is Aram Naharaim, unto this day. And the children of Kesed also went to dwell where they could find a place. And they went and they found a valley opposite to the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they there built themselves a city, and they called the name of the city Kesed after the name of their father, that this is the land Kasdeum unto this day. And the Kasdeum dwelt in that land, and they were fruitful and multiplied exceedingly. And Terah, father of Nahor and Abraham, went and took another wife in his old age, and her name was Pelilah, and she conceived and bare him a son, and he called his name Zobah. And Terah lived 25 years after he begat Zobah. And Terah died in that year. That is in the 35th year of the birth of Isaac, son of Abraham. And the days of Terah were 205 years, and he was buried in Haran. And Zobah, the son of Terah, lived 30 years, and he begat Aram, Achilles, and Merek. And Aram, son of Zobah, son of Terah, had 3 wives, and he begat 12 sons and 3 daughters. And God gave to Aram, the son of Zobah, riches and possessions, and abundance of cattle, and flocks and herds, and the man increased greatly. And Aram, the son of Zobah, and his brother, and all his household journeyed from Haran. And they went to dwell where they should find a place. For their property was too great to remain in Haran. For they could not stop in Haran together with their brethren, the children of Nahor. And Aram, the son of Zobah, went with his brethren, and they found a valley at a distance toward the eastern country, and they dwelt there. And they also built a city there, and they called the name thereof Aram, after the name of their eldest brother, that is Aram Zobah to this day. And Isaac, the son of Abraham, was growing up in those days. And Abraham, his father, taught him the way of Yah, to know Yah, and Yah was with him. And when Isaac was 37 years old, Ishmael, his brother, was going about with him in the tent. And Ishmael boasted of himself to Isaac, saying, I was 13 years old when Yah spoke to my father to circumcise us, and I did according to the word of Yah, which he spoke to my father. And I gave my soul unto Yah, and I did not transgress his word, which he commanded my father. And Isaac answered Ishmael, saying, Why dost thou boast to me about this? About a little bit of thy flesh, which thou didst take from the body, concerning which Yah commanded thee? As Yah liveth, the Elohim of my father Abraham, if Yah should say unto my father, Take now thy son Isaac, and bring him up an offering before me, I would not refrain, but I would joyfully accede to it. And Yah heard the word that Isaac spoke to Ishmael, and it seemed good in the sight of Yah. And he thought to try Abraham. And he thought to try Abraham in this matter. And the day arrived when the sons of Elohim came and placed themselves before Yah. And Satan also came with the sons of Elohim before Yah. And Yah said unto Hashatan, Whence comest thou? And Hashatan answered Yah and said, From going to and fro in the earth, from walking up and down in it. And Yah said to Hashatan, What is thy word to me concerning all the children of the earth? And Hashatan answered Yah and said, I have seen all the children of the earth who serve thee, and remember thee when they require anything from thee. And when thou givest them the thing which they require from thee, they sit at their ease, and forsake thee, and they remember thee no more. Hast thou seen Abraham, the son of Terah, who at first had no children, and he served thee and erected altars to thee wherever he came, and he brought up offerings upon them, and he proclaimed thy name continually to all the children of the earth. And now that his son Isaac is born to him, he has forsaken thee. He has made a great feast for all the inhabitants of the land, and Yah he has forgotten. For amidst all that he has done, he brought thee no offering, neither burnt offering nor peace offering, neither ox, lamb, nor goat of all that he killed on the day that his son was weaned. Even from the time of his son's birth till now, being 37 years, he built no altar before thee, nor brought any offering to thee, for he saw that thou didst give what he requested before thee, and he therefore forsook thee. And Yah said to Hashatan, Hast thou thus considered my servant Abraham? For there is none like him upon earth, a perfect and an upright man before me, one that feareth Elohim and avoideth evil. As I live, were I to say unto him, Bring up Isaac thy son before me, he would not withhold him from me. Much more if I told him to bring up a burnt offering before me from his flock or herds. And Hashatan answered Yah and said, Speak then now unto Abraham as thou hast said, and thou wilt see whether he will not this day transgress and cast aside thy words. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Ain't that the same thing he did with Job?
So a real quick recap. So as we saw at the beginning of this chapter, Ishmael actually took his children, took his wife and his children, and all that belonged to him, and went back to his father's house. And it said, and Ishmael and his children dwelt with Abraham many days in that land. Now, did Ishmael go with him to when he left Philistine and came near to Hebron? I don't know. There's nothing that says that he left. It just says that he stayed with him many days. So was he still with him when he went to Hebron? I'm not sure, but he did go to Hebron. Now we get into the story to see why him and Abimelech, the king of the Philistines, made the covenant, because Abraham's men had dug a well, and Abimelech's men robbed them of the great well which they dug. And then Abraham came to him and rebuked him for this happening. And Abimelech said, I did not hear of this act until you told me. So then that's when they made a covenant saying, if you dig a well, it's yours. And Abraham basically paid him 7 lambs as a witness for him that he dug this well, so that his men wouldn't try to steal it from him. And they swore that, when they dig wells, they wouldn't try to steal from it. And they were digging wells because you remember in Genesis, it told us that, that there was water under the ground, that the ground came upon the earth. When the floods came during Noah's time, the water sprouted out from under the earth. And for the first time, rain came out of the sky. So we know that there's water under the ground, and this is the reason why they were digging wells, for water. And they made the covenant not to deal treacherously with each other when digging these wells. And then Abraham, he was the father of hospitality, so he built, groves around whichever road led to his house, so that whoever had hunger came to his house, they would be able to sit there and eat and drink and be satisfied. If you came to his house naked, he gave you clothing of his choice, along with silver and gold. So he sent you out looking fly. You came naked, he sent you away looking fresh.
And put something in your pocket.
Right? Right. And then now we go into the sons of Nahor, and the sons of Abraham, and the sons of Terah, who were all Shemites. And we see how the Most High had, started to bless the Shemites, because if you remember, prior to this, it was Hamites so far that were kings, that from Nimrod to even Abimelech, who was the king of the Philistines. Remember, he went to Gerar. They were Hamitic people. He dealt with the Pharaoh of Egypt. They were Hamitic people. But now we're seeing Shemitic people, the Most High starting to bless Shemitic people and making their cattle increase. I'm going to see if I can find that real fast. Making their cattle increase and stuff like that. So I can't see that right now, so I'm going to continue to go on. So now we see the Shemitic people coming into power, And that's what this is talking about. And then it gives us the genealogy of what end up being Jacob's wife, or Isaac's wife, I'm sorry, Rebecca, and where she came from. She was a descendant of his father's brother, Nahor. And I think that's basically it of this chapter. Oh, I'm sorry. Now we got Satan, or um, the other name for him in the Mastema in the Book of Jubilees, who came before the Most High and challenged them to challenge Abraham. So we back at that story right there. So I'm gonna relinquish the mic to anybody who want to speak on this chapter.
I think that he did leave and go. Keep on. He did go and stay with Abraham because the conversation about Ishmael boasting to Isaac happened afterwards.
Right.
So he must have did go with him. And it also points out that Abraham raised all his children to know Yah. They fell off key from the grandkids from the other generations. But even here it tells me that Ishmael, he knew the laws of Yah, and he too worshiped Yah. All Abraham's kids did. The only one that gave him a problem was, well, he was in Jacob's bloodline was Uncle Esau. But all of Abraham's kids worshiped Yah. He taught them all the same.
Right. Anybody else have anything else they want to bring out in this chapter? What's that? I can't hear you.
As it told when he was trying Abraham, and the chapter before that, it was actually said the Most High was trying Abraham in all his ways.
Right.
Most High God Hazaton to actually try him because he's probably in this chapter. So it was actually Hazaton. He was using it in all different ways, like through the kings, wealth, through his wife. It was Most High using Hazaton to try Abraham. Same thing we see in the book of Ruth.
I couldn't really hear it. Could somebody tell me what Yashimaro said? I couldn't really hear it.
Was we see that the Most High was using Hashatan to try him the same exact way that he used him in the story of Job. Like,
oh, okay, yeah.
Exactly what it. Wasn't that what you were saying, Frank?
Yeah, I was saying it was the same thing you see with Job, but it's showing that Hazaton, he's only showed up to the regular Bible, but it's showing up here, but it's with Abraham. And they said the Most High was trying Abraham. It was really Hazaton, because the Most High used Hazaton to try us. So that's what you're seeing.
And
He also tried Isaac as well, because he brought Ishmael in front of Isaac and had Ishmael to boast about what he had, and he was circumcised and all this. And I think Isaac handled himself very well in that too. I think they both were being tried.
And speaking of what Yasharon was saying, yes, he definitely uses a Hashatan to try you. He also used other nations, because when we get further in, when we get to like Kings, First Kings and stuff like that, he's going to say that he used certain nations to try Israel to see whether or not they would keep my commandments. So right. Yes, he uses other entities, or so to speak, or people to test you. And you got and speaking on what Sister Robin was just saying, what Ishmael said, what Isaac said right here was honorable, right? He said, man, if Yah said to my father, take that son Isaac and bring him up in the offering before me, I would not refrain, but I would joyfully accede to do it. He just said, man, I would die for the Most High. Like, look, if the Most High tell Pops to sacrifice me, I wouldn't even hesitate. You talking about getting your skin cut off? You talking about you bragging to me because you got a little bit of your skin cut off. Right. So you think you this, man, I will give my whole life, I will sacrifice my whole life for the Most High. You know, and the Most High heard the words.
Yes.
And it seemed good. And it said, Yah heard the words that Isaac spoke, and it seemed good in the sight of the Most High. But look how Isaac was like, look, bro, why are you boasting about this, about a little bit of flesh, which thou didst take it from thy body, because the Most High commanded. You boasting because the Most High said to take a little bit of flesh off your body, you did it? Listen, the Most High told my dad to sacrifice me, bro, I lay down right now. That's what he said to him.
Right.
We got Silver. She said, when he said he used others to test you, hold on, I lost it. Silver, 1 second.
Oh, we got chats in there. I'm sorry, I be forgetting about chats. So feel free to unmute your mic and speak.
Right, but she said when he said he uses others to test us, he's speaking of all people, even family.
Right.
To see if you would turn to the Most High.
That's
Shabbat
right.
Shalom. But go ahead and you can unmute your mic, Silver, and jump in at any time, sis.
Yeah, you're free to speak.
Thank you.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shalom. I'm Silver from Detroit. How are you all today?
We're good, sis. Thank you for joining us.
Okay.
So is this a question or is that a statement?
I was asking because I'm new to the truth, and a lot of my family members are not in tune with me. So
Right.
I'm trying to find out, like, when I'm going through like things at home with my mother, she might be kind of upset about the stuff that I'm learning or whatever. She might get mad because of how I'm trying to teach my kids, but I'm just trying to figure out would that be a test for me.
Yes, absolutely. Because look, now, not only is that what we're saying that Abraham did so far in this story, where he was tempted many ways through his country, through his wife, through his baby's mom and his son, but he hearkened to the words of the Most High, right? So this is the reason why Hamashiach says that, that who's your brother and who's your mother and who's your, that the enemies will be of your own household. Right? This is the parable that he talked about, the seed being fallen on stony ground, right? And then the worries of the world will choke it out. That he talks about 3 seeds, right? He talks about one seed falling on fertile ground that takes. He talk about another seed where the birds come and take away, right? Or Hashatan comes and steal the word. Then he talks about another seed that falls in the cracks, but it get choked out because of the worries of the world. That's the category you're talking about right there. When your family comes to you and they think we've all been through that. My sister Maya can tell you about that greatly, where your family think that you are crazy and you lost your mind and everything, but it is a test to see if you're going to give in and worship the idols of your countrymen like Abraham had the choice to do, or is you going to follow the Most High? But Abraham left his people.
I'll share something, brother.
God.
What's that, Silver? Silver and Mo Dave. I've been where you were at. I've been where you at for years prior to today, but the best thing you can do, that I can give you advice, is to demonstrate your faith and your actions. You'll walk through your actions, and let them see the change in you. I had to go through that. It was painful. It was very painful at first. But through the course of my walk, I'll say around 2002. 2002, my sister started being more receptive, my little sister, that is, and my brother. Later on, in 2012, my other brother was more receptive. Today, they all are. So you have to show them your seriousness. Well, actually, just prove it to y'all. Show it through your actions. You know, walk what you talk. Practice what you preach. You know, there's going to come times you might stumble, fall, but get up. You know, repent and keep it going. But because I told my mother before, when I stand in front of the Most High that day, nobody's going to stand there with me but me. You know, she's not going to be there. My children not going to be there. It's going to be me and him. So I have to stand and count for myself. So then I just started walking my walk and letting them see the transformation in me and how serious I was. So now they like, well, Dad, whatever you're doing, if it can change you, I want some of that too. So that's the advice best advice I can give you. So,
Oh, praise God.
All praises.
And that's the truth, you know what I mean? So, but we, like you said, we all sitting here on Zoom and being in my house right now, we've all gone through that. And it's definitely a test to see where you're going to stand. You get a lot of people, we know people who have come into this thing and ran into that situation. And next thing you know, they back celebrating Christmas, over grannies for Easter, you know what I mean? 4th of July just passed. You see how many people were celebrating that, even though weeks before it was all about forget America. America is doing us dirty. But you just got to stand strong on what you believe in. And like you said, continue to walk your walk. Your walk is going to be the biggest thing that you can show them about the truth. You can talk it all day long and they won't listen. But gradually over time, they're going to see, okay, well, she's serious about this. And, you know what I mean, the Most High must be with her because she's not falling. So as long as you continue to stay strong in his word and keep the faith, you're going to be all right.
And can I add something to that? I just wanted to say, because, I mean, like everyone said, we still going through it. You know, it's not like it's going to stop. You know, we got to understand the battle, you know, but all in the same token, don't allow them to have you to turn back just by the words they said. Keep going. Just like when Lot's wife turned back and you see how she turned into a pillar of salt, you can't look back. Keep going. Even if you got to pray, even if you got to do a silent prayer, just pray. He hears you. You know, don't let it affect you, because sometimes it will try to choke you, you know, but you have to put God as the centerpiece and say that, you know, this ain't my battle. You know what I mean? I'm putting the word out there. I'm leading by example and they still not getting it. That's not for you to be concerned with. You keep going. Don't turn back. Don't let them, you know, turn you back to where you going. You got somewhere to go. You know what I mean? And you was chosen. You was chosen to walk this walk and keep going. Don't stop. Even though, yeah, and I got, you know, I can say a lot on this, because even with, you know, I lost my favorite. I mean, this boy, we grew up from the dirt. You know, I mean, I loved this boy. He loved me. I never felt no love like this from a family member. You know what I mean? And when I lost him, it's like my whole world just turned upside down, because that's the only person in this family that I saw like that genuinely loved me and cared for me out of my whole family. I'm talking about my whole family. And when I lost him, it was like I didn't know where to go. And the only thing I could turn to was y'all. I'm not going back. You feel what I'm saying? Because I already experienced this ahead of time. You know, with my grandmother, I was in a dark hole when my grandma passed, because I felt like she was the only one that I had. Meanwhile, I had my mother, I had everybody, but it was just something that my grandma gave me that my mother didn't give me. And that's when I felt when he passed, I'm like, Dad, wait a minute. And I just got on my face. Like I'm talking about literally on my face, not my knees, not my nothing, on my face. And I just prayed out to y'all, like, please don't send me back down this dark hole. And he didn't, you know, and I separated myself because I wasn't as strong, like from the family. Like you guys can, be a witness to that. I had to separate myself because I wasn't as strong. I had to lean on to y'all as I'm still doing now. And then here come another thing that came at me is where, even the funeral director, he didn't have to tell our family what was the real deal. They killed my cousin, and that just threw me in a loop like, whoa, you feel what I'm saying? And I could have went back and try to do what I usually do, but guess what? I gave all praises to y'all because I wanted answers. Like, how did this happen? Not answers like questioning him, but like, y'all, please give me closure. Like, please, you know what I mean? Lift me, please. I mean, I'm begging, like, not just saying, I'm begging. So all I'm saying to you, sis, don't allow nobody, I don't care who it is, don't allow nobody to turn you away from y'all. It's gonna be it's gonna be trials and tribulations. It's gonna be everything, but keep focused on Yah. He's the centerpiece of it all. Shalom.
Thank you. Can I say one thing?
Yes, ma'am.
I understand what everyone's saying about not letting no one get, turn me away from y'all, but
You're breaking up, sis.
Can you hear me?
I can hear her good.
Okay. Okay, I was saying, like, I understand everything that you all are telling me about not letting no one take me away
Silver,
from
you
y'all.
still there? Did we lose you?
Yes.
You got to unmute. Unmute her, Benaiah.
No, I think that's y'all sound. We could hear her. Those on Zoom could hear us. Could hear her.
Okay,
Is there something wrong with y'all? Yeah, we can hear you. But for some reason they can't hear you.
Someone else was speaking. Someone's name that start with a K.
Yeah, that's me.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Can you hear us now, Derek?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, Silver.
Okay, what I was saying was, I have two children, and my mother, my sister, my two brothers, they're all not in the truth, whatever. But my mother, the Day of Atonement, when the Day of Atonement comes, I was telling my children that they shouldn't, that we have to fast that day, and she's basically like trying to prevent them from fasting, telling me that that's not what the Most High mean. Everything is a spiritual aspect. Nothing is really literal. She takes everything into a spiritual aspect. She don't believe that anything in the scriptures is literal. So she's kind of deterring my children from believing what I'm trying to make them believe. And I believe that the Most High is working with me to get a better understanding of all his holy days and, everything that he expects for us to do. But right now it's like a challenge, and I don't have the ability to just move away from what's going on with me. So it's kind of like it's a battle every single day, like a battle between good and bad. That's kind of what's going on over here. So I'm trying to figure out, like, is there any advice that you all can give me so that I can deal with this situation a little bit better? Because that is my mother, and I do not want to. I'm trying to make sure that I always honor her, like the Most High said.
Hallelujah. Yes, you
Before,
should.
hold up. Before anybody jump out here, I really want Imam Atar to jump in there, because she's dealing with and has been dealing with a similar situation.
First thing you have to do is you have to turn this battle, go through Yahshua, turn this battle over to y'all and help you through this. Like in my house, my dad is 86 years old. He's set in his ways. I have a sister, she's 60, and she's still set in her ways, and she's spoiled. So you have to stand your ground. Start with, like, I still have a problem with them on the Shabbat. I won't get up and cook, and they'll try to get me to cook, I won't. But they'll get up and they'll go in the kitchen and cook anyway. I keep the feast days. They want to keep the pagan holidays of the land. Christmas, Easter. You have to cut yourself away from that. And you basically got to be an example. So your light can shine. And sometimes it takes longer for others to accept y'all's word or their calling. But you have to keep walking that faith. Okay, no, I'm not doing no Easter, no Christmas, no nothing. I'm not cooking no Thanksgiving dinner. I'm not even going to cook it for them. I don't even cook it for them. No, I'm not eating pork. They still bring pork in my house, but I won't cook it. Now, the one thing that I do cook is my dad. I cook his breakfast. But if he come in there with ham and pork chops and all of that, I don't cook it. Now, if you want a lamb chop or a veal chop or a burger, I'll do that. But you have to really stand up to them and show them that your choice is the Most High and not them. But you have to do it in a respectable way. And it's hard because my dad would push my buttons until I would wind up starting to curse. Okay, and that's what Hashatan wants us to do. You know, we can't dishonor our parents. We can't default them. So what I do now, when he tried to put me in that situation, I just shut him down and go the other way. But you have to stand on y'all's word. You have to pray for them. That's another thing. You know, you have to pray. And it's not going to be an overnight situation either. You know, it might take years. That time depends on y'all. So right now, what I can say to you is start with keeping the Shabbat and start with cutting out all man-made holidays. Okay, and when they see that, okay, she's not participating in any of our holidays that we all was brought up on, they may start thinking, but it's a spiritual battle, and only y'all can water that seed to bring them out of the darkness that they're in right now. But living within the same household, it's a struggle. And it's also a test for you. Y'all gonna test you. Let me see if you're gonna break down and give in to them. You know, so everything that's going on that has to do between your family and your biological family and the Most High, you're gonna have to stay strong on y'all's word. You know, regardless of how angry they're going to get, or you know, don't even try to use the right word to try to make you feel guilty. You know, you can't let that. You can't let them do it. They'll use kids. You know, why would you know? They used to try to use my daughter against me. You have to stand strong on y'all's word, and as you do that, y'all's gonna also make you strong. You know, you know, when it's ready for you to get from underneath their wings, you'll find your place. You'll do it.
And then
So
Matthew,
Can I say something, Ben, that she said something to me? I just want to state, because the reason why I said what I said, I'm always going to honor my mother and my father. That's because that's a part of the commandments. But this is all I can tell you. All you can do is put on Ephesians 6. You have to put on, and you have to know it's not your mother. You know, you have to see that it's something behind her that's causing her to do these things. And like Iman said, you just gotta pray. Like, and that's my whole thing. Like, you just gotta pray. Don't look back. You know what I mean? Because it'll get tiresome. Even I had to deal with it. Like I was in Florida for 2 years. You know, and the Most High set me down. Meanwhile, I'm thinking I'm going to Florida to party and work. Meanwhile, he put me on a bench to learn. You know, so when I had to come back, my mom, you know, she was, oh, you can come stay with me. You know, you don't gotta, you know, get your place right away and this and that. Even though I was skeptical, like, dang, I don't really want to live with my mom again. Like, you know what I mean? But all of the same token, when I got back, my mom was, I'm talking about, it was like Satan was just coming at me. You know, and I never disrespected my mom. I just prayed to y'all. You know what I mean? At this time, when I came back, I didn't know his name was Yah. You feel what I'm saying? It still was God, Lord, you know, and everything like that. I was still in the Christianity part of that. But as I seen it, I'm like, Dad, this is not, you know, this is not what I'm reading. You know, I got to stand strong. You know what I mean? I can't turn back and feed into it with her. You know what I mean? Because that's what he wants. That's what the enemy wants. So all I'm saying is to you, you have to fight. You know what I mean? Put on Ephesians 6. That's all. I mean, that's the best advice I can give.
See, there's two tests that's going on here. She asked, her original question is, will he use family to see if you will turn from the Most High? There's two tests that's going on here. There's that test, the pressure of your family on you about you keeping the Day of Atonement and having your family fast, and they might saw this child, cruelty or whatever. But or if they come at you and and you gotta respond like Emal was saying. See, the two tests is the first test is to see if you're going to give in to them, right? To see if you're going to be like, all right, y'all right. I'm gonna do it the way that y'all been doing it, how Big Mama and everybody been doing it. Y'all right, this is crazy. I'm gonna come back to do it to how y'all do it. That's one test. And the second test is to see if you're going to dishonor your mother. Because see, there's two ends of the spectrum, right? One spectrum says honor your mother and father so that thy days may be long upon the earth. And then the other end of the spectrum says, he who loves mother and father more than me is not worthy of me. Right? So you have to, both of those things got to coexist. Right? So you have to honor your mother and your father so that your days may be long. But you can't put them before the Most High.
Right.
So you have to be able to respectfully disagree with them and follow the words of the Most High.
Praises. I think that I'm just gonna remove us out of the household when it gets to that time. Maybe leave a day or two before that, so that I can get my kids to do exactly what the Most High wants them to do. That way, I don't put no interference. I mean, that way I don't have no drama going on here, and then we're not keeping the law that the Most High wants us to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And there's nothing, and there's people that who have done it like that. And like Emal said, the Most High will cause the separation. So he'll put you in a position where you will be separated, you will be in your own place where you can worship him without fear. You know what I'm saying? Without interference. He's going to put you in that position.
It's coming. You just got to be patient. It's coming.
I used to pray about that when I came home. And I was staying with my mother, and they was doing all the pagan holidays and idol hanging. And so it was out of my power because it was not my household, or nor was I here to the house to do anything about it.
Right.
So I would consult the Most High and say, if this is what you want me to go through, then so be it.
Right.
But to grow in you and to be more abundantly in you, remove me from this mess.
That's right.
I do not want to do anything wrong and fall in error. Believe me, he will answer. Most of us do not receive because we do not ask, as the scripture tells us. So we got to make that step, and start asking the Most High,
So based on what that brother just said right there, a king is only the king of his own castle. You can never be the king of somebody else's castle. So if you living under someone else's roof, what they say goes. You know what I mean? You can't be telling, well, Mama, you can't be cooking that stuff, and you can't be putting no Christmas tree. This is Mama's house. So that's why a king or a queen has to get their own castle so that they can rule over it.
Mariella got something.
I just want to say, sis, I was literally in your exact shoes. You know what I mean? I don't have no kids, but I was living under my mom's roof, and the enemy knew he couldn't get to me. And I'm still going through it now that I even got my own place. When he knows he can't get to you through things that are clearly not a stumbling block for you, he uses the closest things to you. So when you get those tests, make sure you stay in order with the Most High, his laws, his statutes, his commandments. Don't be fast to anger, things of that nature, because that's nothing but the enemy trying to make you, have error with the Most High. And I want to read to you 2 Timothy 2:19. Nevertheless, the foundation of Elohim standeth sure, having the seal. Y'all know it, them that are his. and let everyone that nameth Yeshua HaMashiach depart from iniquity. So when I read this, sis, and when I think of this, and this is something that I used to literally meditate on, I would tell you to fast, go up a petition to fast and ask for that deliverance from that home so that the Most High can bless you with your own. One thing about constant prayer, constant meditation, constant fasting, and like asking for his complete deliverance, show him how dedicated you are to him, for him to be like, daughter, I got you. Because he did it for me, sis. I'm telling you, I was home with my mom. I was under her roof with my sisters, and back to back to back, it was constant attacks after attacks. But the more and more I literally if you want to see how dedicated you are. You can have days where you literally be like, Father, I'm fasting for this home. Father, I'm giving you all of me for this home. I don't care if I start in an apartment. I don't care where you want me to start, just so I can get my home more in order. But just know that when you get there, it ain't going to stop. Because it's a constant attachment that we're always going to have. And what the Most High wants to do is test you in a way in which he want to see if what he's teaching you through this word is actually working. You know what I mean? He allows it to happen. Go ahead and test my child. Let me see if she's taking in what she knows she should do. So sis, stand fast and make sure you pray. Make sure you throw them petitions up. You fast for him and you tell him what it is. And know that when you get over this stumbling block, especially if you and your family are close knit, when them attacks keep on coming, keep on praying. That's all you can do is keep on praying and keep on dedicating yourself to the Most High.
And the biggest thing that I could say, super honestly, surround yourself with like-minded people. Like, that's one of the biggest blessings that I could say that we have here at Steel City is we're not the normal congregation. It's a family-oriented thing. You know what I mean? Like, the love is like pure and sincere. I know you're in Detroit, but our women every Friday night going into Shabbat and Women's Night. You know what I mean? We do a prayer call on Tuesday. We do a reading on Thursday. So we're constantly interacting throughout the week to make sure we're keeping each other uplifted and keeping each other on a righteous path. That way, if somebody's starting to fall off somewhere, we can see it happening. We can get to you and help you so that you don't fall too far. Like we all say, you know what I mean? We are going to fall. We're not perfect. Everybody's going to fall. But the question is, how do you react to that fall? Because the only thing that you can control is your reaction. So if your reaction is, okay, I fell, but you're getting back up, is the next move. It shouldn't just be, okay, well, I fell and I'm just going to be here and the 4th is coming up, so I'm going to go get me some fireworks. No, get up, dust yourself off, praise him for allowing you to realize that you failed, repent for whatever caused you to fail, turn away from it, and keep marching forward.
Right.
So you're more than welcome to join in on any of the things that we got going on. And I'm pretty sure that the sisters at Imam, if you need, we'll give you their number so that you can stay in contact with them throughout the week as well.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Because a righteous man falls 7 times, right? A righteous man and a righteous woman, right?
Right.
So before we end this out, though, I just want to, Sister Silver, I pray that, you know, I know you put a question out there and you got like 15 minutes worth of answers, but I pray that helped you and everything, and welcome aboard. But before because I know it's getting close to the time when we're about to bounce up out of here, and we're not going to be able to come back to this chapter. So there's something I wanted to bring out in this chapter before we end out is so when Abraham threw, so people say, okay, your birthdays. This is what we about to touch. You can't celebrate your birthday because, you know, you're worshiping yourself and this and that, right? Then people use this verse to say, well, Abraham threw a party for Isaac's birthday. Now, it wasn't Isaac's birthday, right? It was a great feast for the day he was weaned, though. But so he threw a feast for him, right? Now it wasn't that he threw the feast for him that Hashatan had opportunity to throw blame, right? Because he said it was not. He said, but he had forgotten thee. So how did he say he had forgotten thee? He said, because in the midst of all that feast, he brought thee no offering, neither no burnt offering, nor peace offering, neither ox. So basically he said, look, so he threw Isaac a feast and he didn't give you any praise.
Right.
Right? It wasn't that he threw Isaac a feast. It was because he didn't give the Most High any praise through the midst of that. Does everybody see that?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I just want to, see if we all agree on that. So if your child's birthday come and you wanted to do something for their birthday, but you gave honor and glory to the Most High for your child, are you in line? Or, because someone look at you and tell you that you're off? It's the question I'm putting before the family.
Out there and say based on that, no. Because the thing is, the problem that we have with celebrating birthdays, like with the feast that he threw, is, and it's crazy because I go on Facebook and I got a friend that I grew up with I've known since like 92, 93. And every time it's somebody's birthday, her thing is happy all about you day. You know what I mean? So what we do is we take him out of it, forgetting that you're not even here if he doesn't ordain you to be born on this day. Mm-hmm. So for you to not give him reverence and give him praise and honor for being there, like, you're completely off.
So you mean like how we used to celebrate the whole week for our birthday? It's my birthday week. Some people a whole month.
Right. I was about to say, I know people that have been celebrating their birthday for July since July the 1st. Hold up. Drano has something.
Oh. All right, so let's see that same thing in the book of Job, when his first children were killed.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, though, they had celebrated all their birthdays. And Job gave an offering because of that.
Right.
And he said it was because they sinned in their own hearts against the Most High. Right? So they sin within their own hearts. How deep is that? So let's look at that from another angle, right? What do we always do to us as people, like when we have vices or whatever, right? Whether it's drinking, right? Whether it's a lust for money or power, or even like sexual lust, all of these things, like, we think it's for pleasure, right? That's what you think. But all the while, you really just worship yourself. Because you're putting all of these things before the Most High. And when you do that, you're not putting the liquor above the Most High. You're not putting the sex before the Most High. You're putting yourself before the Most High, which means you worship yourself, right? So we do the same thing when you celebrate a birthday to yourself. I mean, it's actually bigger than birthdays. Self-worship is bigger than birthdays, 100%.
So are you saying that it's wrong for someone to acknowledge their birthday, or for me to say, man, happy soul day to you, or are you saying that's wrong? I'm trying to get your perspective on that.
Let me give out the scriptures, brother, the fact that he's not saying it's wrong.
He's not saying it's wrong, but O'Day got something.
I just want to give out some scriptures, and I'm done.
What?
I'm in pain, man.
Is you okay over there, brother? Because you look like you're okay.
I just want to give out some scriptures. I'll start off with Job, because my brother Drina was talking about Job. It's 1:4. Job 1:4 says his sons used to go and hold a feast in the house of each one of his day. And they would sin and fight. There are 3 sisters. to eat and drink with them. So that goes to show you that they would do that in honor of their day. But in Romans 1, 4 through 5, 14, 4 through 5, it says one person esteems one day as better than another, while another esteems all days alike. Each one should be fully convinced in his own mind. The one who observes the day observes it in honor of Yah. The one who eats in the honor of Yah, since he gives thanks to Yah. While the one who abstains in the honor of Yah. To give thanks to him. So whatever we may do, as long as it's not paying homage to any idol or false entity, and we give honor to the Most High, first and foremost, you are in the green. Never walk in the say no. All right.
Well, let me ask a question. Let me ask how my brother Yasharon feel on it. And I don't mean to put you on the spot, brother, but I know you come from a different school of thought, so I'm curious.
Don't do it.
Okay. Okay. I was just asking. You know what I mean?
He cool.
No, I'm just asking, what was his train of thought on, and you know what I mean? Like, does, based off of what we're reading here in Jubilees, it was for the fact that he did not give up any praise to the Most High, right? So like Brother O'Day was saying, right? If you was giving praise on to the Most High for you being born this day, not you're praising yourself. I'm something special. Happy birthday to me. Look at me, pin a couple dollars on my shirt. I ain't talking about that.
I'm gonna die.
I ain't talking about. I'm talking about you. I thank the Most High for my life, for bringing me into the existence of the earth. I'm giving praise to the Most High for allowing me to exist. Or I'm giving praise to the Most High for giving me this child. Thank you, Most High. Or are you in there? I can't hear.
There's two different meanings, because one's you in the truth and the other one's being in the truth. So there's two different perspectives on it. You know what I'm saying? So if you're in the truth. The one when you're not in the truth, you are worshiping yourself. Because it's all about you. My birthday is all month long. Give me. You didn't give me nothing. Why didn't you call me on this day? And you give no praise to the Most High. Right. But when you come into the truth, thank Y'all for me being born today. You know what I mean? It's all day. You probably praising Y'all your whole day. So that's two different things. So that's
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
I like how you said it. Because I'm with you on that. Hey, you got enough room on your bicycle? Huh? You got enough room on the bicycle to work the street? Yeah. I have to go down and win to I can't get on that one.
So I just wanted to touch on that last part before we end out, because what we're about to go into, that we're going to pick up next reading, Most High willing. We might have a lesson next week, so be prepared for that. There's several people working on lessons. So
real quick, first off, Silver says, "I feel love coming from Hope." Hold up, let me back up a little bit. I'm sorry. All praises to the Most High. This congregation makes me feel awesome. I wish I was there with y'all. I wish I could live down there. LOL. I feel love coming from y'all. I can't get what I've been searching for much understanding. I would be comfortable being among you all. Told out for the opportunity.
Hallelujah. All praises to the Most High for
that. As far as the lesson next week, Benaiah, I think since we're doing immersions Sunday, we're going to redo the immersions lesson that we did previously.
Okay.
recap that because we want everybody going into the immersions with the understanding of why, you know what I mean, we do this.
Right.
So next week we're going to do that lesson, and then God willing, if Brother Nate is ready, the week after we'll do his lesson.
Okay.
But before everybody leaves up out of here, remember we do got the children in the other room, so I think they may have something to present. So please let's not just jump out of here. Let's give them let's give the children their opportunity to present whatever it is the Sister Nista's been working on with them for the last couple of hours, and give them the attention that they deserve, just like we require from each other.
Hallelujah.
And Sister Silver, before you leave out, if it's okay, could you give your information to either Ema or one of the sisters so that we can keep in touch with you throughout the week as well?
I most definitely will. Do I just say it here?
Somebody got your phones out? Oh, well, Nathan said that he has it. Is it okay if he shares it?
No. I mean, what y'all gonna give her a telephone number over the air?
That's what I'm saying.
Nathan has it. I asked him to give it to them already for me.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was saying. If he already has it, let's not do it this way. But yeah, so he'll pass that to the women, and they'll be in contact with you. As y'all can see, if you're looking at the video, the children are filing in here. So if we can give them the attention that they deserve to present this wonderful lesson that they've been working on, it was actually a...
Hey, Sister Nixa, how much longer?
Right? See how big?
Hey, Silver, my family's in Detroit on 8th Mile and Joseph Campo. If you heard that.
I think they heard that on 8 Mile and Joseph Campo.
Yeah, Joseph Campo.
All righty, so the children are ready to present.
Hey, I gotta fix the camera.
I got them. Don't worry about it. I got them.
Or you keep holding both in the air. Put them in separate hands. Face the adult. Face the adult. Face the adult. Okay, so the class tonight.
Fix the camera.
Oh, face the camera? Oh, girl, I didn't know I was on there.
How you telling it?
Oh, that was so good. Okay, so the class today, we was basically trying to teach the kids that they are the children of the promise and help them understand the difference between the covenant that's made with the world versus the covenant that was made with Israel as a nation. All right? So we're going to first start with Kiari. We help them understand how the Most High feels about covenants, how serious they are, and why we shouldn't do them if we're not going to hold ourselves.
What happened to the sound?
I can't hear them either. I think they got it on mute.
Are y'all on mute? Oh, there you go. There you go.
Hold on. So go ahead. Start again.
Okay, I was just basically saying that we were talking about the difference between the covenant that was made with the world, as in every living creature, and the covenant that was made with the nation of Israel. And we talked about how serious covenants are, different words to identify the word covenant, basically meaning the same thing. So Kiara, can you give me another word for covenant? Say it. Okay, Shem, give me another word for covenant. Kamari, another word for covenant. Give me another word for covenant, May. Give me a word for covenant, Nayama. Agreement. And Dejir.
Pledge treaty.
Pledge and treaty, alliance, oath, vow, swear. All these words mean the same thing. So we basically have them understand that if you're not going to hold yourself to something, if you're going to say it, the Most High requires it of you. But his son came and said, let your yes be yes and your what be what?
Yes be yes and your no be no.
Your no be no. So if you don't want to get in trouble for holding yourself to a covenant, just don't do it. Dejir and Nayana
just did that after I explained them how serious it was. So just tell them what you just told her.
So I told Danger if she sung the song with her, or buy her a bag of hot
But
fries.
say the words you said.
I said, I promise I'll buy you a bag
Which is,
of hot
I
fries.
explained to them is another definition of the word covenant. So she promised this girl, made a vow or oath or swear, she's gonna give this girl some hot fries if she participated in the song. So that's between her, Daisy, and the Most High. All right, that's how serious.
I didn't make no promise.
Right. But you still included. Listen. Okay. So they have to understand the difference between the nations, the covenant was made to the world and the Israel. I basically explained to them, okay. So raise your rainbows up when I'm talking to the entire world, and raise your world up when I'm talking to Israel. Y'all listening?
Yeah.
I should set my bow in the cloud, and it should be a covenant between me and the earth. For Elohim so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever believeth in him. Good. Israel is a world without end. He made a covenant unto Abraham. He made a covenant unto Isaac. He made a covenant unto Jacob. Most High's will, I'm going to take the entire class out to join pie. Most High will, I'm going to take only days here to join pie. The Most High made a covenant between us and the earth. Okay, so I okay, one last thing. I told you they had a pop quiz question. And if they got it, I made a covenant to them. Whichever child got it, we're going to get that $50. That's now this.
Hold on. Get what? Hold on. If I went in on that.
I'm gonna take it today too.
No, I told you y'all, please do not say the answer adult. Please, I'm begging y'all. But we're gonna see if they paying attention every week. Every week. We do this covenant every single week. That's the hint. Every week we do this covenant. So if they do not get it, we gonna know they are not paying attention. What is the covenant that we say every single Shabbat? Every single Shabbat.
Shalom.
They only got what's the covenant?
Y'all never flip that.
No.
We keep his commandments.
That's it.
Yeah,
The other one. That's part of the question. The second covenant that we're in. She just said. But this is not no call out answer question. You gotta raise your hand. His hand was up when he was saying the wrong answer. That's why I said they on. He kept saying the wrong answer. His hand
Go ahead and give him another shot.
That's part of the commandment. The second covenant that we read every single week.
Okay.
Oh, dang, I just asked you not to do that. Okay. They know you know the answer.
Is it that what we not have forgotten for y'all?
No, she's not
All of
asking.
that is for the commandments.
She's not asking what the commandments are, kids. Children.
What's the second covenant that we read every single week? That's it. No. Soon. You said it what you didn't say it. Oh my goodness. The new covenant. Yes, where is it located? Where do we read it out of?
I know.
What is the we read it every single day. They already got her. No, they on the no.
You can't take that.
Where do we read from?
From John.
You're wrong. Sorry.
That question is out.
It's in Jeremiah.
And we cut it out. Y'all paying attention?
No, the laptop.
make the right choice. I am supposed to be everything God wants me to be. That's it.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. That's beautiful work that you're doing, Sister Nitsa. That's beautiful work that you're doing. All praises to the Most High. Okay, so children, y'all did an excellent job. Y'all did an excellent job. Thank you, Sister Nitsa. So now I'm going to ask who in the family is going to pray us out.
Ladies, heads covered. Men, heads uncovered.
Brother Yasharon going to pray us out? Praises.
Let's all stand and face the east. Heads bowed, heads held high. Hold up, okay, we're good to go up. It's on you.
Father Yah, we come before you in the name of your Son, the only begotten Son, Yeshua HaMashiach. We thank you, Father Yah, for another set-apart day, another Sabbath. We give you praise and honor and glory for your Son, the Prince of Peace, the great Counselor, wonderful and excellent is his mercy and his glorious ways. We trust in you, Father, Hamashiach, Yeshua. We thank you for gathering each and every one of these souls that stand before your throne of grace, praising you, thanking you, Heavenly Father Yah, for all that you do. We pray for unity on your set-apart day. We pray that all of us, that your law, statutes, commandments continuously strengthens us, continuously brings us together, and let us walk in your righteous ways. Your law has given us light, guide our feet onto a righteous path. A path of righteousness is everlasting, that will never be forsaken. Allow us never to be fall short. And if we do, we stand on our feet. If one of us fall, Heavenly Father, may it be your will that we pick another one of our brothers and sisters up. Let us walk in righteousness, never to look back into the world, because you called us out of this darkness. The pollution of the world, we're trying to escape, Father God. Showing through your mighty glory that we stand before you. We thank you, Father Yah, for your high calling on our lives. We trust in you in all our ways. Let us be obedient like Abraham, and let us be diligent like Job. In your holy name we pray, in the name of your Son, let the whole congregation say hallelujah. 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 Hallelujah.
Say goodbye for now. We'll have our second time around. But before you go, there's something I'd like to say. Everything's not what it seems. There's a stronger force behind the scenes. He's in our lives every day. He's right there when we call. Is where my strength lies. I lift my eyes beyond the skies. Only he can save my life, and only he can hear my cry. I wanna thank you, God, for giving me one more chance. who don't believe. Sometimes it's very hard to see. Live this old life every day. Some things don't go your way. But to be without is not his will. His cattle on 1,000 hills, and you're all yours to claim. Just claim him in his holy name. See, you don't have to beg or crawl. He can see you standing proud and tall. He'll give his everlasting love. Just come to him as you are. I wanna thank you, God, for giving me one more chance to raise my voice and to sing your praise. I sing it out loud. Oh, I sing it all day. This song is my prayer I give to only you. I know it can't compare to the gift from you. Oh, you gave me your love. You gave me your son. I wanna thank you, God, for giving me one more chance to raise my voice and to sing your praise. I sing it out loud. Oh, I sing it all day. This song is my prayer I give to only you. I know it can't compare to the gift from you. You gave me your love. You gave me your son. Now I say, amen.